TT Virus, Team 14. He'll be able to heal up in just a second. As gunfire raining down between these two, and it does look like Team 14 is going to take this fight here as Rakes, fought along with Rakes here, deciding what the best course of action is. And Team 11 also going to be peeking it.
Teams are just doing kind of peak battles back and forth here. We do have that three-way gun battle going on, and again, this is that area we were talking about at the beginning of the match that had 5 teams, and you can see Team 10's already kind of vacated out of the city. They've taken off to the south, but they're going to have to rotate back up as that zone is to the north of them. So these teams are all going to have to move up. Team 2, that's going to be Send Files, who were one of the teams that we were kind of keeping an eye on. They've already made it to the zone once again. So they were the first team to the zone last round, and this round it looks like they're going to be the first team in the zone again. Again,
getting to see the grappling hook in action. It's a lot of fun. Definitely is a lot of fun using that grappling hook, and it does look like Team 14, who did lose one member already, will get themselves to safety. Now we're fought along with Team 11. This was the team that was peeking all the way through. They're able to pick up a kill. Elite goes down, so that's one member of team number 10 knocked out. So we are one less on their squad.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's interesting about this zone versus the last round is it's really not too far north or too far east. It's kind of very centered in the overall map or the play field for this one. So teams are going to be coming in from all sides, where it gets kind of chaotic most of the time when you get to ones that are in one area, because all the teams have to rotate in from the same side. It's going to be a little bit more spread out here in game number 2. However, this southeast corner, if things are going to pop off, that is where it's at. We've got a ton of teams coming up from that southeast region.
Yeah, a lot of looting here happening on Team 11. I'm excited to see the teams that are getting a little bit closer towards the Ash and I, as everything around the outside there, not taking damage yet, but will be taking damage, as you can see on the top of the screen, in 15 seconds. So players have to start rotating in towards the eye, getting ready, as, our boy Forsen has already been knocked, and they're under fire, so he's not able to pick him up. It's up to Raptor the Raptor yet again, able to knock Team 10, that's Nakin, going down, but Aventurist rolling on in, and it'll be a battle behind the rock. Aventurist trying to pick up the kill against Raptor the Raptor. Raptor the Raptor already taking a bit of damage. And the peak battle is underway. Oh, Aventura is getting aggressive, and it's just right behind this rock right here. Oh, ooh. And he's able to get the shots over the wall and pick up the kill, and he'll be able to pick up Daddy Forsen here in just a second. So Forsen, yet again, saved by Raptor the Raptor. New round, same story.
Raptor the Raptor is that go-to, man. He's the team carry right now. He's definitely keeping Forsen in the game repeatedly. Great plays out of him, some really well-played shots, able to clean up a 2v1 situation, isolate single players, and make the best of a rough situation.
Yeah, and you could see there at the very last second, Designer goes down. At the very last second, once they completed clearing out the whole squad, his oxygen tank pops up right there. Yep, there it is, just the oxygen tank. So following along here, it's 12 and 18 fighting, with Team 5 going to be third partying here. And Poman's like, nope, see you later. I don't want anything to do with this. You guys got my team.
Out. Want nothing to do with that. You can have every single one of my nopes. I'm going to take this BMX bike, and I'm going to go get my cardio on.
Yeah, out they go, and here it is. The Ash has started dropping. So if they are not inside inside the Ash and Eye, the safe zone, the hexagon that you can see on the screen, then you're going to take a lot of damage. Now there's 2 little areas that you can stay within the hexagon, and one of them will be clearing out in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. It's the one that's flashing in the north, yellow on the minimap.
Yeah, so that one's basically going to shut off, and it's going to turn on one of the other zones that's actually attached to the other hexagon. So and it'll just continue to turn off and on and rotate and move around, which will keep these players having to move and keep action occurring rather than letting it become kind of stagnant and teams just sitting in buildings. They'll have to stay mobile.
You can see Ragnar taking a bit of damage here for team number 9. Spearspitze. Love that team name. So Ragnar, Duff, and Dopenpenna will load up into the police vehicle and drive themselves into safety. Again, not taking damage from the Ash yet. It's the first round of the Ash, and if you're used to any other BR games, it's the first circle, so you're taking a little bit of damage, but not a lot. But again, keep your eye on the oxygen tanks, and every time you knock someone down, that's where you're able to pick up their oxygen and replete yours, just in case you go outside of the eye. And again, there's strategy to it, right? You don't want to be the oxygen king early on, because then everyone knows where you are on the minimap. You got this big blinking red dot. It's very scary. As you can see now, Firmino is the oxygen king, and he was oxygen king last time too, and he, things didn't quite work out for him.
As as punishing as it can be having it in the early game, in the late game, though, it really opens up the door in those final, like, 2-team left situations. It really opens up possibilities for baiting players after the Oxygen King or place him in the back, kind of VIP him, set up those walls. There's a lot of different things you can do with that to get into the head of the other team.
So Forsen and Raptor the Raptor, yet again, just kind of hanging out, but they hear a vehicle behind them, and they're going to run towards it. Here we go. Foxes and the rest of Team 3 in a little bit of trouble. Forsen able to land some shots, but no one goes down. The vehicle is on fire, as now Raptor the Raptor has another team coming at him. It's another team coming from behind. Raptor the Raptor down to 33 health. Forsen isn't quite around to help him out, and so Raptor the Raptor says, see y'all later. I'm hopping on the bike and getting himself to safety. He'll start healing up, so Forsen left alone. He's going to BMX bike himself to safety as well. And so Raptor now trying to find their Dosenpenner, will be able to, and Dosenpenner does go down. The vehicle will help out with the kill as well. And again, Forsen and Raptor the Raptor dealt with a couple of gunfights earlier. Their oxygen levels are relatively high.
Yeah, both of them are okay. They've got, well, yeah, I mean, it's moving pretty quick. They're going to need to move into that zone here fairly quickly, but they'll have more oxygen as soon as they go and pick it up off of the players that they just eliminated. They're doing fine. Once again, though, Raptor the Raptor kind of leading that group and getting them out of a bad situation once again, and Forsen able to follow out. I thought Forsen was going to be in a really bad spot when I thought Raptor just straight abandoned him for a second there, but Forsen was able to find his way out safety.
Hey, you can see it right there. Total kills so far, 4 after their round 1 placement, 3 right here on Raptor the Raptor, but they did not go back and pick up the oxygen of the players that they knocked, so their oxygen levels will be relatively low. You can see it's dropping at 3 oxygen per second, but they're relatively close to the circle, and here we go. They'll be fine as they hop on.
And that's the fresh circle, and that's something that we talked about is are these teams, is Team Forsen and Team Shroud going to be able to manage some of these things that are different to this game from other BRs that they've played in other games? There's some mechanics that are very specific to Ring of Elysium.
Yep. You don't want to be on the outside looking in here on Europa as we follow along here with Team Endpoint. This is the team I was like, hey, look, they did well early, and as soon as we talk about them, Tom Jones dies, and so does Horsey.
So that's how that goes. You should stop talking about them.
All right. Won't talk about Team Endpoint anymore because Send Files comes on in and sends them down to the grave, and we'll be taking their oxygen in just a second. There it is.
There should be one player left up for that squad, though. We'll see if you can find him or if that guy's already taken off.
Yep, down. He just dropped right there. Relentless up top. Unlucky. Relentless dropping, or Endpoint dropping in 8th place right outside of the points as we follow along now with Tatum. Tatum with team number 4. He's the last man alive as teams are still just okay with hanging outside of the zone right now. But you can see, again, dropping very quickly. And Forsen is your oxygen king. So,
he had no oxygen though. What's going on?
That means the players are very low on oxygen, and
everybody's very low.
Everyone's gonna have to be inside the astronaut.
Yeah. Or Forsen looted everybody. Forsen hasn't been shooting. Raptor the Rapid kills everybody, and Forsen loots all their oxygen.
Definitely one of those VIP game modes here. As Tatum.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, Forsen's the right one to have as the VIP, right?
That's correct.
It just kind of fits.
How much oxygen do you have? 183. That's not that much, especially if it's going to be dropping at a much quicker rate. So here we go. I think now it's dropping at a rate of 10 per second when you're outside the zone. So with 173, that's only 17 seconds you could be outside before you take major damage.
And Raptor the Raptor is now the leader. Forsen did step out for a second. He lost a little bit of O2, giving it over to Raptor, and down to 2 minutes and 35 seconds to pull the win off using that win condition. And it looks like they are going to immediately try and get somewhere where they can get a little bit of hard cover. Good decision. We saw some teams in the warm-ups that really kind of didn't play near hard cover when they were in that situation. And being on the map and having no hard cover at all when somebody comes in to fight you, it's not a good situation.
No.
But actually, they're going to take off. They're going to keep rotating.
Yeah, it looks like they'll keep moving. I think it's difficult, right? Because on the map, you could see on the mini-map the blinking red. Everyone sees that blinking red if they look at their mini-map. And Poman knows, hey, Raptor the Raptor, the O2 leader, he's right here to my left. And I know that they want to hide. But Poman's the only one left on his team for team number 12, so he's going to hide as well. It's just a little bit of game of chicken here.
Is he at a point in the top 4 where he thinks that it's worth going for placement rather than taking this elim? Does he think he can take the match down? Because right now we're talking about difference of like single points between placements. It's not a ton. Will he take a shot if the opportunity presents itself? He had a moment there where he could have, but I think he's going to wait to have a little bit better chance at getting a pinch and maybe clean up rather than trying to be the initial person to engage.
Right. An interesting situation with this end game scenario is that all 4 teams that are still up do not have 3 players. They're not full squads. You've got a one-man squad here with Pullman on Team 12. You got a one-man squad here, team number 5, Team Rampage with Raminho. And then Team 2, Send Files, has 2 members, and obviously Team Forsen, team number 1, has two members. But again, everyone's letting this timer tick down, and if the timer does tick down, that means Team Forsen's going to win. So we expect to see some action here in the next 60 seconds.
Yeah, in the next 60 seconds, somebody has to go engage him. Otherwise, they're just giving away the win condition. So who's going to do it, though? Who's the one? All of them have to rotate, and currently they're the farthest.
All right, so
they reset the timer. So Raptor the Raptor went ahead and stepped out into the ash and reset that timer, giving it back to Forsen. 3 minutes, starts over again.
Yeah, so as soon as you step outside of the ash and eye area into the ash, you're no longer the king. The only way that you're king is if you're in the zone that whole time. And so because they both stepped outside, now it's Joshi, the only one for team number 2 that's inside the zone. Now Raminho's inside the zone. He's the one in the vehicle. Everyone knows where he's at.
Raptor the Raptor trying to open up some shots onto him. Not able to get the connections, though. Team Send Files, that squad that we were talking about up top here near that airdrop. See if they're able to pull this one out. And, well, another Send File member just happens to be playing on a different squad this game. 2 members of Send Files on Team 5 there, which is Team Rampage. Raminho, see if he can battle out against his own team.
Yeah, these guys are playing much more patient. This is the type of game mode that I thought we were going to see. It's, hey, once we get to a couple of teams left, everyone's going to play a little bit slower. Is Raptor the Raptor taking some shots here? Not exactly sure who.
It's so weird. This is almost like the mid game in another BR, right? Like the mid game's kind of happening in that very end situation at like 4 teams. And then I really like the dynamic of the final 2 teams and getting to see the strategy using O2 King.
I'm interested in seeing where, Raminho's in trouble. The car is on fire. He ran right into Forsen, and Forsen's able to pick up the kill. He does get exploded there by a second, but he will be picked up in just a second. Oh, will he? Yeah. Will he? Oh, no, he can't. He can't. Raptor's got to go. He's got to go because of the oxygen levels. Now Raptor getting shot at by Team Send Files. Will he be able to get into the corner? Is he? Is he in?
Nope, he is eliminated.
Oh, God,
we are down
he was
to
right
2
outside the zone.
Squads. Unfortunately, that rock was right in the way, blocked him from getting back in there. So we are now down to our final 2 squads. Link Homan, he is going to be up against the 2 members of Send Files. We'll see if he can pull it off, or if he decides to do the play that we saw earlier, which is run into the ash and just deny them the point.
I think it's a little bit different here. Oh, nice. That's one of the great things about using the BMX class. Every time you hop off any sort of jump, do some tricks.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do any of that in real life. So if I can just sit around in a video game and hit one button and it does it for me and it makes me look good, I'm all for it.
Oh, look at this. Poman just being a scavenger here, able to find some oxygen and a couple different weapons that'll work out for him. But again,
not enough oxygen to take over O2 King, though.
No.
If he can find enough oxygen to take over O2 King, that changes the dynamic a little right now. So right now, he has to play to the other team. If he could get enough O2 to force them to have to come to him to where he can watch them as they come in, that would create an opportunity for him to have a much better chance at taking down this game.
That's right. You can see there, not a lot of oxygen between any of these players. If Joshi is the leader and he only has 22 oxygen points, it's not that much. Is
90 seconds.
Poman, how much does Poman have? I can't find it. Where is it? 8. So as soon as the Ashen Eye moves and he's outside the safe zone, he's going to take a lot of damage. So both teams have to rotate quickly, and you can hear Poman slowly walking. He hears the grappling hook, and he knows that they're very close. The other thing that he realizes is that he only heard 2 grappling hooks. So he must surmise, hey, there's only 2 players left. This is something that I might be able to take on.
See what he's able to do here. He has the opportunity to get the shots out from above.
Oh.
He had an opportunity.
Oh, no. He's in he's in the ash. Oh, God. He's barely alive. So, again, you see how quickly the ash damages your player if you're outside the zone. And so Poman will be able to heal himself up, but again, he has to rotate. He cannot be in the ash, and by doing so, Send Files knows he's going to have to run towards him, and Send Files runs towards the next safe area, and they can play defense.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, they have all the advantage going to them right now. They've got 25 seconds left before they take down the win condition. all they got to do is keep Joshy alive. He needs to eliminate him. If he wants any chance at this, he has to take out Joshy right now. He doesn't have a choice. He can't wait. He just has to rush in, guns blazing.
Yeah, and you could see both Taylor and Joshy splitting up here. This should be an easy pickup. Yeah, Taylor, boop,
Yep.
easy kill there, and great play by Team Senfiles to pick up the victory.
Man, Senfiles showed out in game number 1 and in game number 2, bringing that number 1 spot to themselves. So I think let's just look back at some of the things that they did on in the early game. They decided to make that early rotation again, and it worked out for them even better this time.
Yeah, it definitely worked out better this time than it did the last time for them. So Senfiles, the main squad, went down earlier than we would have expected in game number 1. They're able to piece things together here in game number 2, get that 0-2 king in the final 2, and make use of it expertly and take down that last kill.
Yeah, we saw them clean up Team Endpoint. Team Endpoint were rotating around. I just about to comment on them, and bam, there was Senfiles right on top of it. And I think there's something about not necessarily being the first to leave, but definitely not being the last to leave. And Team Senfiles found the sweet spot there and were able to capitalize and get the victory.
A lot more back and forth during those final moments during this game,
Yeah.
and a lot of it came down to that red dot rotation of the 0-2 king. Let's go ahead and watch those moments once again, as they did end up claiming the victory for Senfiles, but they had to be very careful, Supersonic, didn't they, in the way that they approached this?
Yeah, you want to be careful on the setup. That's the main part. And you can see that the player with the red dot is actually farther back into the zone, and he is 100% focused on that player because you've got 10 seconds. He has to go in and take him out, which just sets Taylor up to take a very, very easy shot there, clean him up. He had no time. It was good setup from Senfile.
And a good balance of aggression as well, racking up those kills, and Digon, those points should do well for them when trying to boost back up into the standings now.
Absolutely, and again, it's the teams that are aggressive and fight. You want to be a team fighting team, especially when the point system is like this. Sometimes other BR games and other rule sets, you get a lot more points off of placement. Not the case in this specific tournament here at the Amazon Cup. A great opportunity for Senfiles to jump on up into the lead, isn't it?
We do have to check back in on our wildcard team, which is Team Forsen here today for the EU portion. But one thing is, we got to see a lot of display from all 3 players here on the team, particularly Raptor to Raptor once again popping off.
Yeah, Raptor to Raptor has been the kind of all-star player for them here. He's been winning really clutch gunfights and been able to get his players back up before they get eliminated, which has really been strong for them. So he's keeping them alive really, really late in the game.
Yeah, and to be fair to Forsen, I think he did pick up a kill or 2 later on after the initial knock. Right here, he's the one that caught the jump here on the team with the vehicle. Vehicle's on fire. It was Raptor the Raptor that had to run, and Forsen was left all alone for quite some time on his lonesome here. I think here it is, Raptor starts stepping up, shooting randomly, and then getting caught. He's like, oh gosh, I got to get out of here in just a second. It was team number, 9? Team number 9 to start shootout. He's like, I got to go.
Yeah.
The BMX bike seemed to work out well for them too, especially in those end moments.
Yeah, BMX bike once again here in the end circles, coming in really strong, and not only for Team Senfiles, but for Raptor to Raptor and Forsen. They were able to get themselves out of dodge very quickly, get some distance between them and the other players, get behind some rocks, get healed up, and then rotate back in. So they made great use of the BMX bike.
Yeah, and so many things to consider in Ring of Elysium, and one of them being that 0-2 King title that you can earn. And we saw a lot of specific strategies geared towards that aspect. So, Digon, what did you think of the way they ended up playing around having that title and tossing it between players?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't think that they not always mean to toss it between players. When you pick up a pack of oxygen, it goes across the whole team. But when you individually step outside into the ash, it only affects you specifically. So I think players are starting
to get increasingly more mobile because of it. So do you think that that affects their performance, and we're having to focus on that as well and kind of think of that positioning related to the rest of your team?
it adds something to it, and you definitely need to figure those situations out. But I don't think it's adding too much. It's probably a very practice strategy. That's how they probably play these end games over and over again.
I know one thing about today is you have the prize pool on the line and everything, but these players ended up practicing a lot leading into it, and we got to practice with them. We ended up joining the scrims. So let's take a look on our experience among these Ring of Elysium pros.
Let's play for length on this one. Let's be risk averse. Remember, there's a team to our northeast. Oh, you're right. Never mind. I'm an idiot. We can't go southwest.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is a cute little house. I would live in a house like this.
I hope that makes it into the edit. Tiger's walking in. I would totally rock a house like this. This is great.
Yeah, I feel like that. You know.
I mean, I'd want to come in with my Sims edit mode and change a few things out, but I love it.
You know, but it's a good starting place.
Team across the water, on the roofs.
Oh yeah.
There and there.
Do we want to take shots? Guess we're taking shots.
I'm just being annoying. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't have
I'm not
anything that
actually. Oh,
reaches
ow! Okay,
far
never
enough.
mind. Oh, they.
Oh, I'm scared on the bridge in the open.
I'm down.
Right above me here.
Oh, shoot me! Bro! What? Where'd that even come from?
That guy's not even facing me on my screen. He's literally looking the other direction. What?
Ah!
That was rough. We didn't have scopes.
And soon enough, everybody, you can see we'll have those standings for you. But in our defense, these players have been practicing all the time.
Where was the game that we got to do something?
That
was what happened
They didn't
here?
show a single one of our eliminations.
Yeah,
I will.
we actually killed somebody. Promise.
Well, even M-Job was saying before, he's like, oh yeah, y'all took out some really good players in that, and we're
Yeah,
popping up
they
on the
had
kill
it
feed.
big.
Where was that
Set up.
friends?
They took it
Where
all. They
was
took it
that?
all away.
Curtis.
Yeah.
Fine, you know, they just didn't want people thinking that we should be competing in this, so they didn't want to show that.
I will say, knowing what we're supposed to do and executing was two very different things.
Yeah, we didn't do either.
You know, but only 15 seconds until we get the update on these standings. But yeah, I think that one of the coolest things was getting to see what these players have to offer in person with that.
Oh yeah, getting to see somebody show me that I am not as good as them at the game, fantastic.
Alrighty, everyone, let's get this update going. Round number 2 results. So this was the finish off after round number 2 in isolation. And Send Files, as we know, taking that number 1 spot, Glink right after them. But things are going to get shifted around with the points being accumulated between the 2 rounds, as you can see on your screen now.
Yep. They're going to start shifting. Stellar 4 going to drop down to position number 2 now. They're going to be tied with Team FMN. Team Rampage going to take over that number 1 spot.
Yeah, Send File shooting right on up, 12 spots up higher, as well as G-Link. He played a very passive game. No kills, all position points, all strategic here. But good on Forsen to get, I think they got 5 kills that last round. And so they were able to continually place themselves in that top 4. There are a lot of other teams that are either playing more aggressive, playing conservative. It looks like we're getting a nice little mix there from our featured streamer.
Yeah, Forsen's getting into those top positions or into those like upper 5 placements, and they're getting some eliminations. Raptor to Raptor keeping them in long enough that they can get those elims and score some points.
Yep, just a couple minutes away until we get into the 3rd round. And we're still kind of in that early portion, probably not a lot of switch up. But if you're looking at kind of the mid game, it looked like at one point, even though it was getting pretty toxic outside of the eye, there were still 17 teams in effect. So Dagon, when it's extremely clustered in that way and you're forcing everybody in this small area, how do you think that affects just the drop off from that 17 level to even just a few teams?
I think teams haven't been very good managing their oxygen right now, which is why you're seeing 17 teams around like a small cluster rather than anyone inside the zone. No one's really playing the zone. It's about maybe 1 to 2 teams that are inside the Ash and I and
Really
start
only
off.
send files.
Exactly, right? It was send files really in the zone and mastering that and then stepping outside and coming back in. Because as much as you want to win and get a round win, you get most of the points from getting kills. And so if you're just going based off of the helicopter and being the oxygen king, it's not quite exactly as efficient of a round in terms of point total. So I want to see guys get in the zone a little bit faster.
I think it's interesting. Files is doing that, and that's something I talked about a little bit with Imjov from one of the NA teams. He was talking about teams are going to play the Ash. They're going to do that. That's intentional that they're doing that. But that does open up a spot for guys on the to play the inside of the circle, and we see files kind of making use of that. Teams aren't going there early, and they're getting up there, but they're just riding the edge so that they can step into the Ash and back in and out of it to manage that O2 king.
Right. Same with G-Link. I mean, again, they got second place, 0 kills, but
0 elims. They need to pick up the gun battles, but yeah, they're playing the ring well.
Right.
Well, round number 3 of 7 is about to get underway, so we are in that dropping portion, and it looks like another touring city centering on this map.
Yep, we're going to be going straight back into that northeast corners. These guys are all going to be familiar with this area because they just played it. So we're going to get a round repeat of the last one. We'll see if these guys end up taking some of these really clustered starts. We saw like 5 teams in one area for some of these. We can definitely see that Team Stellar 4 is taking the exact same spot. They're stacked vertical again right there in that northeast corner. Team 17's in the same place. A lot of these teams are going to the same areas, but it does look like Touring City has one less team there.
Yeah, and keep your eye on team number 1, Team Forsen. They're dropping right next to team number 11, the best name in the tournament, Monstre.
I was just thinking I'm so mad at that name because I don't know how to say it. Well, you just took care of that for me, so thank you, Digon.
Sure.
All right, here we go, friends. It is time for round number 3 to get underway of Ring of Elysium here on Ash and I. We saw Team Forsen show out with the rest of his squad pulling into that number 4 spot, but plenty of teams are ready here to contest, and I am so ready to see what goes down.
So taking a look here at the cluster Turing City, and already right off the back, we're getting aggressive play from Aventurist, who's moving closer and closer to team number 4, No Recoil. We haven't talked about No Recoil too much. I think we followed along with Tatam just a bit, but they've been identified by Aventurist and the rest of team number 10.
Yep, going to get in here early with them. We haven't had a whole ton of coverage on them yet. We'll see if they can get some early eliminations here. It's Team 4 right here next to him. Aventura's kind of keeping their eye, pinging them out, letting the team know where they're at. Haven't seen him have an opportunity to take some shots yet. He did just hear that player, Delta, come flying in too. All 3 right in front of him. They can possibly get some good elims. I know that players do like to play kind of aggressive if they can get into a building. They like clearing up staircases. So I'd like to see one of those play Haven sometime today. I want to see that breach and clear.
So team We Are One, following along with them. You got to see their score in the bottom right-hand corner. They're made of Elite Aventurist and Nakan. So we follow along with captain of Team Forsen, Mr. Forsen himself. And yeah, that's.
You were more scared than Forsen was for him.
I didn't hear him. I didn't hear him at all. So
that man was a
Forsen able to
ninja.
pick up a kill and force out team number 11, Monstre. And how they go, but Forsen knew what was happening.
Hey, one of the guys from Team 11 has made it out. He is out of there quick. You know, on the bike, BMX bike getting used a ton more today than we saw it get used in the warm-up matches.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely feels cool to use the grappling hook to make the sick plays and rotate around, but if you're trying to play for that late game, the long distance that you can cover on the BMX bike, huge here for these squads.
The movement of the bike is just really, really helpful. The other thing is that you can get the distance without using a vehicle, which we've noticed are extremely loud. Your position is given away from quite a distance. Teams know you're coming, so you end up not really getting to use those all that much anyways. You have to park so far out before you come rotating into the zone, you might as well not even use it.
That's right. We saw from team number 5, Rampage, Raminho using the police car for such a long time, and it's like, hey, man, there's only 4 squads left. There's only 6 of us here at the server. We know where you're at when you use the police car.
And what did it turn into? It turned into a bomb.
Yeah, it turned into a bomb that eliminated Forsen, too.
Yeah, it did, but I think Raptor was able to get him back up. It knocked him down, but it fully eliminated Ramino. So
right.
We haven't seen vehicles work too well for anyone yet.
We'll get to see another opportunity here as northeast zone here for the Eye. The Eye is just really all about the clam chowder.
Last player of Team 11 going to get taken out there.
So finally, we have our first squad eliminated. And so 19 squads left. So Team 11, unlucky.
Back on the vehicles for a second, though, I will give a ton of respect points to anybody that I can see, like, a full team. I want to see a full team just, like, rolling around in a tuk-tuk.
Yeah, right. Or one of the buggies.
Yeah, the buggies are good, too. The tuk-tuk gets a little bit more respect. It's very kind of open air, open to the elements, open to getting shot by bullets.
So we follow along here with Cloud Tails. You can see the map is right here in the middle. So the eye will be north of Turing City as we follow along with Duff. Now Duff taking some shots at Fatima La Ninja, my favorite player name in the game. Fatima La Ninja able to hold onto that wall and heal up, but Duff and the rest of the boys starting to get a little bit aggressive. Duff now trying to take shots at Linksy. Linksy able to answer, but now Fatima gets taken out. Only one member left for team number 7, Exalti. So Fatima, yeah, there it is. So the full team clear here for team number 9, Speeder Spitze. Able to answer it.
You're having too much fun with these names, man.
Yeah, they're great names. How often do we get to make these sounds?
How often do we get to butcher the pronunciation of names? Pretty much any time it's a non-NA name, I'm going to butcher it. So
Duff's pretty easy. Could be Doof. Doof and Ragnar.
I'm going to say it's Duff.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to do the American thing and just assume it's Duff and say Duff.
Yep, so Duff and the rest of the boys of team number 9 still close to the Rebels, team 13 right there. We haven't talked about them too much. That's Dude, Reason, and Terry. And so Dude with the sniper will be looking. Oh, wanted to take a shot there at Ragnar.
All three of them pinged him. Like, the entire team is playing the assist squad. Nobody with the shots. All three of them are like, yo, he's right there. Somebody else get him.
Dude gonna BMX, and again, do you just take this fight or do you rotate around? It looks like the fight will be taken here, Dude. Looking for an angle, and they've got to start thinking about it because the prep time will end here in 5 seconds. They will not be taking damage of oxygen, but the zone will start showing where the toxicity will be.
The shots underneath the edge of that tractor there, getting some hits in. That's going to be Dude getting some hits into
Dozen Penna.
Dozen Penna? Penner?
Dozen Penner. I'm assuming because they're a German team, right? Spitze sounds German. That would be Dozen Penna because S's are Z's and you kind of go on ERs at the end.
I'm just going to take your word for it
Thank
and
you.
say that that's what it is. That player was getting shot in the feet, though. He has no toes left.
That's unfortunate. Then he wouldn't be able to bike. I guess he could bike.
Trying to, like, they can't see me at home, but
You can't
trying to, like,
see him
figure
right
it out
now.
with my feet. But
Supersonic is pedaling his imaginary bike with no toes.
I think I could do it. Just give me one of those pedals that has like the foot cage over the top, and I can like lock into it. Be good.
All right, so the damage is now starting to come outside of the Ash and I safe zone. And so the Ash levels will rise in just a bit. Also, the next safe zone will work out as well as we follow along with Designer, part of that G-Link squad. We didn't get to follow him. We followed Pullman, but this is the team that got second place that last game, and they're playing the slow game indeed.
I love the laydown mechanic in this game. Like when they turn and look, like a lot of times the games just kind of like leave them on their stomachs and they turn around. I love the little like lounge look that he's got with like the one hand up, kind of holding his head up as he turns around.
Yeah, definitely. As Raminho, he doesn't get the lounge look. He gets the hurt look. He's knocked.
I mean, he's kind of lounging, just not the way that he wants to be. You guys can see the leaderboard over there on the right side of the screen. That is after 2 rounds. We are in game number 3 here in the EU region for the Amazon Cup.
Tatum looting up. No oxygen there, which means someone's already come by that area. But you see how much oxygen they have. Yes, they are outside of the zone, but they have so much. 850. And it's only going down 1 per second.
That is a ton. You can see that O2 King is swapping now up at the top. Elite to Horsey to Elite to Aventuras. Back to Elite again. It is just rotating over and over again.
Raminho got picked up by his teammate Kaha. And so he'll be able to get out of dodge, and that's always one of those questions. Like, do you try to go and finish the kill and put yourself in a vulnerable position, or you back off, let time take it, but then
not with 14 teams up. With 14 squads, there's such a high probability that there's somebody else out there in the area that it's going to be rough. It looks like Team 4 has decided that they need to move to go and get that elimination. They now know that he's separated from his teammate because they haven't seen the other guy around. They can't find him, and it looks like they've decided to go ahead and, as a team, make the move back towards where they came from. And they're gonna vacate the area.
Yeah, they are very far from the Ash and I. Take a look at the map. They're 1, 2, probably about 3 zones away. And so they've decided to back off and work themselves back to safety. But, oh, man, they're getting baited right now. Raminho just keeps hooking around, and they hear the grappling hook. And they want to deal more damage, but there he goes. Now he's starting to take some shots here.
All right, Raminho trying to just stay alive here once again. Just unfortunately can't leave this rock without getting shots just thrown his way. Keeps getting peppered with them. Team 4 now aware where he is, and they've decided they're going to go back out and try and make this play happen again, and it is not going well for them. They are getting lit up right now.
Yeah.
Delta Fix going to be almost all the way down. Tatum and Smolder barely hanging on.
Yeah, they were able to pick up the kill there on Raminho, but they were getting third-partied by team number 9, Spitza. And so kills quite available for them, but Delta Fix very low. Delta Fix will get picked up before he drops by
Very
his
close
teammate.
there.
Yeah, that was very close, but again, right, rotating just a bit too aggressively, and you touched on it. It leaves them vulnerable, and now Kaha taking some shots. He has a lot of oxygen, so he has time to play. Able to knock down Delta Fix, but he's getting shot from behind as well. Team 9, Spitzer, wants to continue to third-party this, and now Tatum is stuck in a tough spot. Does he help his teammate up? He does not, and so Kaha picks up 1 kill. Tatum trying to get himself out to safety. He does, and this is a lot of fighting, and they're so far outside the zone right now. It's almost not worth it to keep fighting these fights way out of the zone.
Yeah, Team 9 also had some opportunities there that I would have liked to have seen them be a bit more aggressive, get in there and kind of clean everything up. They had players that were basically walking on their last limb there. They were down and out. Weren't able to go in and get the finish, though. I would have liked to see a little bit more aggression out of them.
Yeah, they would have, but if we can take a look at the map here in just a bit, you could see how far they are from the zone. They are multiple hexes away. And along with that, their oxygen levels are starting to run really low as now we follow along with Oserve, Storia. Oserve inside the zone. They're safe and they're rotating. He bounces right between in and out because he has the most oxygen, but he doesn't want to have the most oxygen. Everyone knows where he's at now.
But he still has it. So we saw it swap for a second, then his came back in. So the other player actually walked out and decided to tank their O2 a little bit more. And I guess he's decided that he's just kind of comfortable being the O2 leader for the moment. And it looks like they are making a mark. They're going to go ahead and keep moving towards that east side. And it looks like, the west side of the zone. Everybody is currently to their south and kind of to the east of them. Not a bad idea to get out there and kind of towards the edge and give themselves the ability to kind of see the entire zone.
Yeah, pretty cool to take a peek here as, Story getting shot at. You can see Team 6 on the minimap sitting right on the cusp of the zone. So anyone that wants to rotate on in, they can gatekeep and hopefully pick up some free kills, but Storia now stuck in a little trouble, and there's our team number 9. They've been traversing through the ash for quite some time, and they just now ran out of oxygen, but they make it barely, so they'll be able to heal up, but they've got to keep moving because as soon as they're in the safe zone, but next time they're outside in the ash, they're going to be taking massive damage. You can see on the top left-hand corner, 80%, that's how much damage they'll be taking, how much the total damage the ash will be doing to them. Massive.
Yeah, and that was Oserve Astoria going down there at the hands of Ragnar. So he picks up a kill, takes out the O2 King, and becomes the O2 King himself at only 71. So everybody inside the zone's pretty low on O2 there.
Yeah, that first gunfight that we watched for quite some time lasted about like 3 minutes. That was everyone's oxygen.
There's like 5 or 6 teams in that skirmish at one point. So I mean, that was a lot of teams just chunking away at their O2. The only team that's kind of maintaining it has been Team Team 6 Stellar 4 has been playing that edge of the zone, and they've kind of made sure that they haven't been the O2 King, but they haven't been in engagement. So I think they've just been playing the edge and keeping their O2 down.
So Ragnar and the boys will be rotating on through this way. Miner just hanging out very quietly.
Just hanging out.
Oh, he knows.
Ooh.
He knows they're there.
Please don't hear me. Please don't see me. This is that moment you're not breathing.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Ragnar.
No, right there.
He sees his head. Does he see his head? He's wearing a green helmet. It looks like grass. He definitely saw the head this time.
I'm afraid of talking. They're gonna hear us, man. They're gonna find him.
Okay, so Miner gonna step up. Here he goes. He's able to get one. Dozen Penner hasn't gone down yet. There he goes. He does go down, and Miner runs out of ammo, and he dies to the ash. Oh no, he gets eliminated. But you love those moments when it's just the sneaky snake in the grass, and it's, do they know? Yes, they know.
Yeah. They didn't know in that situation until he gave himself away, but he ends up picking up an elim. He knew he was going to go down. He at least gets another point on the board, so good play by him. Ragnar here, one of the players that we've seen get a couple elims so far for his squad. We're going to swap over to Smolder, currently with 4 elims up. 3 squads currently remain. We've got 2 players, a team of 2, a team of 2, and a team of 3. Team 6, Stellar 4. Game 1 winner. They're currently sitting with the highest number of players left. They got the 3-man squad up. See if that ends up spelling it, giving them a win. See if they can pull this off. Currently, right now, though, somebody needs to deal with Smolder, because in 1 minute here, he's about to take the game down.
Yeah, Smolder and Tatum have done a fantastic job using this vehicle to relocate, because they both have grappling hooks. Again, grappling hooks, great for short distance, not the greatest for mid to long distance, and the vehicle helps out as gunfights happening over with the other 2 teams right now.
Yeah, so Brian's off of Team Smolder is going to go ahead, or off of Team Stellar 4. He's going to take out one of the members over there. Ragnar going to be the last one left alive for that squad. Ragnar getting lit up here. He's down to under half health. He's in a rough situation, and we're going to be down to the final 2 teams here momentarily. 25 seconds. 25 seconds left. Somebody has to deal with this 0-2 leader, or they just need to decide to get these finishes and get some elims and know that the game's over. You need to at least try and get a kill or 2. Get as many points out on the board as you can.
Yeah, the current Oxygen King will win in 15 seconds. Here we go. It might be our first Oxygen King victory throughout the day. And so with the vehicle hanging out on the rocks, should be safe in this game. In the bag here for team number 4.
They are going to lock that one in. That is an 0-2 King win. That is the first one we've seen, including the warm-up matches. We haven't seen that happen yet.
Yeah, it's a whole different game when it comes down to that. So ending with a victory for team number 4. But it seemed like they ended up benefiting from the other 2 teams crossing right at the top of the eye there, didn't they, Degon?
Yeah, again, right, they played very smart. They were exactly what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to play in the zone and use the zone to the advantage, get there, and then hold that spot. And so, yes, everyone knows where you're at, but you saw how they continually used height and they used other terrain. So at first it was the house, then they were behind the rocks, and they were so high up that there was no point in trying to chase them. So very smart play there by Team No Recoil.
It seems like one of the things you have to think about is, okay, do we go and try and capitalize upon the third party, or do we sit back? And those were all effective ways for them to try and get the best case scenario. So Supersonic, if you're in that situation and you're kind of in one of those top 3 teams, but you end up colliding with the opposite side, then what's racing through your mind knowing that there's another team that could end up third partying it?
For me, it's definitely going to be kind of what Team 6 did there, what Stellar 4 did, is they recognize that the other player is really far away from the zone. They can see that he's marked, or farther across the zone. They're in an engagement. That player is going to win in X number of seconds. You need to engage the other team and lock in as many points as you can before that timer runs out, and they did a good job of it.
Yeah, definitely smart play there by them.
And lots of highlights for us to look at throughout that game, because we had some really chaotic moments leading up until those final moments. So especially if we're going back to the discussion that we had early on about using the management of when to rotate on in, and there was that moment at 80% toxicity where 71 was the most 0-2 that someone had. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's a pretty low number. We're typically seeing much higher numbers than that, and 0-2 was getting expended really, really quickly here today. But we are going to be able to see some plays here from Duff, or Doof, depending on which one of us is pronouncing it at the time. Duff was one of those players who was out there getting engaged. Saw some really quick plays right there where he comes around the corner. Tatum and some of these guys. We saw a lot of good shots. We've seen some cool plays out of Raptor to Raptor, but this game we got to see a lot of other players kind of pulling off some plays.
Yeah, again, team number 9, Spia Spitza, did a fantastic job fragging out and getting 3rd place.
Yeah, Yautsin here. He's been a player that's kind of been stellar for Stellar 4.
Yeah.
He's been a stellar player. Unintentional pun there, I guess, but I'll go with it.
I know a lot of these names we're not as familiar with, being that they are EU teams, but I know you seem to, according to your notes, have an opinion on NA versus EU that you had?
The facts. Yeah, the fact sheet. That's the back page. I call that my fact sheet.
So that's the facts, not
Yes.
opinion, just fact according to you.
Fact sheets, yeah.
Are you in that same boat, Degon?
You know what? I'm here for good gameplay. Don't drag me into this.
Yeah, do as you do, my friend. And that's the thing. A lot of these teams putting on best display here for Ring of Elysium, but if you look at what was going down at 50% in the air, and we just saw some of the highlights with teams 4 and 5, it almost seemed, for lack of a better word, pointless when they're that far from the safe zone. So do you expect to see any adjustments as far as when to take and leave a fight?
I don't know that they'll change on that. I mean, kill points are worth so much that it's really hard to walk away from. If you think that you can take that gunfight, it's going to be hard to walk away. The other issue is Team 4 had to keep pushing out because the direction of the zone was out there.
Yeah.
So they had 3 teams kind of in a semicircle in front of them. They had to clear a path one way or the other. They were stuck there. The other teams that stayed really just wanted some elimination.
And you have that question posed to so many teams: do we stay for the placement points? And I think, again, because in this tournament we've weighted kills so highly, it's absolutely worth to stay. But I think, and in the first couple of circles, you're not taking that much damage. But I think after, you've been going at it, you tried once, you tried twice, the third time in that engagement, you're not finding success. I think that's when you start rethinking about your strategy.
Well, with all the things to consider in a round of Ring of Elysium, one thing is there are all kinds of unique obstacles for you to consider. So it makes sense to have some equipment that'll make you perfect for the task. So first off, you have the recon drone, which does give you a remote control scout serving as your eyes, but it does come with its own limitations as well, including a limited battery life, where the DPV is an aquatic vehicle that propels you through the sea, and you can even shoot while doing so. But I must say, you gotta make sure you take in some of those sights underwater while you're using this. Have y'all got a chance to check out what it looks like under the water zone?
I have not been in the underwater yet.
Yeah, no, underwater it's very nice. It feels so much more smooth than some of the other games, and when you're able to pull out the DPV and just kind of surf around with it, it no longer feels like, hey, water's a bad place to be. I'm a sitting duck, literally. But the DPV allows you to traverse it very quickly like you're using the BMX. It's a nice little addition here in Ring of Elysium.
On all those details we talk about within this game, it's a really cool area to be, but you also have to think about there's waves in this actual water and how that affects shooting. And we've seen a lot of adaptation when it's on land because that's where everything's rotating. But how different of play, especially based on some of the practice that we saw yesterday, do you expect to see if we do end up in a water fight?
Water fights are always kind of strange in any BR. It's definitely something that is not going to be a spot that players are typically as comfortable as they are on land. So it's interesting to watch teams try and react to water. I personally have never done well in water in any BR game, so I'm probably not the one to break down water play because I will lose 10 out of 10 times, and maybe 11 out of 10.
Deacon, maybe you have a little something for the water side?
Yeah, I mean, just a bit. I think, again, it's a little bit more smooth than other games, but a lot of the gameplay so far and a lot of the gameplay that we've watched throughout our practice matches have been on land, and I think, although it's cool that you can fight on water, most of the time everyone wants to be on land. Everyone wants to just level that playing field, use the terrain, use the brush as well. So I think that's where a lot of the gameplay will rotate to.
And looking forward into the next round, soon enough we'll have those standings for you, so nothing to worry. We got a minute going on the clock right now and almost 4 minutes to go until the round itself. So with some of the teams that we have seen so far, and a couple of them showing up that we didn't get to talk about as much prior. So Team 9 with what was our pronunciation for this? Spearspitze? Spearspitze.
Yep.
Well, Spearspitze with Duff and Ragnar also had some really good plays. So what did you think about the management from Ragnar, especially when he had the O2 target on his back?
Ragnar's been playing really well. He's actually put out some really good shots. I think he's probably the damage leader for that team. They've been fairly aggressive. They've taken quite a few fights. It's just, can they clean up and start maintaining that end game situation where they can get those few extra bonus points for placement? I think in actual fights they're doing great. It's just making it all the way to that final position.
Yeah, I think the winner is no recoil with Tatum leading the way there for them. I think it was a great job by them to get the victory. I want to see them play a little bit more aggressively when they have the opportunity.
Well, everybody, it's the moment you've been waiting for. Standings are on your screen. These are your round 3 results. No recoil taking that number 1 spot. Stellar Force still standing very strong in that top spot positioning with number 2. But soon enough, we will know what our overall standings are going into the next round.
Big points out of Spearspitze there with 8 elims that game too, so it puts them only 1 point behind the overall leader for that match. And now we've got the update. Team Rampage, no change there. Stellar 4, no change. We've got 1 and 2 spot. FMN they were tied with Stellar 4, but they dropped down one position to that official 3rd spot as they fall 2 points behind.
Yeah, no recoil, jumping way up. No surprise there with the victory. Spear Spitz as well. And then Oserv from that last round, 7 kills. Only 1 placement point, 7 kills. They're now at striking distance at 14 points.
The one thing that we talked about earlier rounds, you're not making that much of an adjustment in strategy. Now that we're going into round number 4, do you think that this is the time we start to see a bit more of that aggression and emphasis on kills?
Absolutely. I think teams, especially those teams that haven't gotten anything going so far, I think it's, hey, let's pick a spot. Let's hope that it's only one team there, and let's get right at it, because those kills are so important. Again, 5 kills, that's the first place placement. Three members in a squad, you drop right on in. That's 3 points that you could pick up. That's as high as 3rd place.
What about you, Supersonic? Kind of agree on the same page?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. If you find yourself at the bottom of the board right now and you're not in one of those top positions, I think you need to get more aggressive. You need to start getting some of these elims and start getting these points. We've seen teams that aren't getting really high placements but are getting high elims each game, and they're sitting up there in some of those top 5 spots.
Right, and one of the unique things about the game is that you spawn in. You're not dropping, you're not waiting. You spawn in, and you have a weapon to go. And all these guys are gunners. Everyone trusts their ability to aim and click. So I think with that, you can get a quick hop. We saw in the last game, teams, although they're right next to each other, they pointed them out. Hey, enemy spotted, but they took their time before they wanted to engage. They want to loot. I'm interested to see if anyone truly hot drops, spawns right in, and starts fighting somebody.
And it's just a bit over a minute to go until we get into our next round. But speaking of hot drops, we did see a lot of teams decide to end up spawning on top of one another. You don't know who with, but you still know people are there.
Yeah, we've seen a couple times where we've had 4, maybe 5 teams all in the same spot right off the start. Turin City's been a hot spot for them. It's been pretty interesting. So I'm wondering if we're going to see that change up at all, where teams start to spread out a little bit and try and get, as you were saying, that up against one other team to where they can feel more comfortable isolating a fight with less loot.
Well, the last thing I want to see is the map. We've always been in this eastern side of the map. Let's get this Ashen Eye tornado rotating to the left side and back over to the west and force these guys to change up their drop zones, right? We're saying, hey, they should change it up. Well, if the map changes and the playable area changes, that's going to force them to do so.
And I don't think the skate park has been in the zone at all yet. With all these BMX bikes we're seeing, I want to see them do them tricks.
Yeah, that's all I want. I want the skate park and the whale Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Ferris whale.
The Ferris whale.
And you can do tricks, by the way, if you didn't know that, in Ring of Elysium. It is randomized. You don't get to actually go back to your kind of Tony Hawk skater days or anything like that. But it's still a nice little spice that ROE has in there. Looks like we're about to be getting into our next round here soon enough, finding out where everyone's dropping bets on if it's in the same area.
Here we go.
Oh, well, no. Hey, it did move
rotating. Just a bit there.
Hey, there's like some water in there.
Yeah, a little bit of water here. But again, Turing City is playable there on the northeastern side. A little south of that, it is Artad City. You're going to see a lot of people there, 19, 16, 7, 18. Where is our man Force?
Split there, too. The 216 players. There's one of the player from 19 that's stuck in between 216 players. We could possibly see those guys collapse on them.
It's interesting. And then we've got a little bit more Fisherman Town. Fisherman Town, one of the best loot spots in the game, but again, smack dab right across the river. If you're on that west side, it's going to be tough.
All right, tough indeed, because everyone, here we go. It is time for our hump day round of the day. 7 in total, but this is number 4. Any O2 Kings out there? Somebody gonna go and try and take down Forsen and his squad? This is your opportunity to make your name known if you haven't already, so let's hear them.
There it is. The Ferris whale.
It's great. And look, someone already eliminated someone. Fatima La Ninja taking down somebody. It is Smolder also takes someone down. As much as I love the whale, let's get to the action.
Smolder eliminates Ragnar. That is a big elim here early in the game. So Ragnar going to go down. That's going to be a big loss for that squad.
We'll follow along with Forsen, who will loot on up.
One of the things that I noticed with Forsen is that they were actually spawning kind of separated from each other, and it looks like they have been able to group up, but they've got 2 squads, once again, right on top of them, so they're kind of in a hot zone. We'll see if this ends up being one where they rotate out early again, or if they decide to maybe get a little bit more aggressive. They've been maintaining that 4th spot overall on the leaderboard. couple more elims, though, or a little bit further into the game, you might start seeing them moving up in those positions. I mean, they're just outside the money right now.
Yeah, they're just outside, and a lot of that is due to the fact they haven't had a stellar last couple of rounds. I think they had a great first round. They had an okay second round. That third round, I think they got 3 kills, and that was it. They dropped, I think, in like 14th. So expecting to see a little bit more out of them to maintain that top quarter spot.
Every time I see the name, man, I still just want to go Forsen.
You said he's lost 2 teammates, and now he's just chilling. He's hanging out.
That looks like a comfortable spot. Got some nice
he's
plant
got
life around him.
He's got a comfortable lean down.
Yeah. It looks very good. And you can see that kill feed just lighting up. O-Serve getting dropped as they lose 2 players.
He's going to take some shots towards Secret, but Buset has given away his position, and now his little makeshift office is getting lit up. He's trying to find a way out. There's 2 doors here that he could possibly take, but with his position giving away Secret and Proto closing on in, Buset goes down, and that is our second squad eliminated. That TTV team, unlucky.
2 quick team wipes here coming in. This is quicker than we've seen in some of the other matches. I think the first match we actually had some people pop off pretty early, and we lost about 4 teams.
Yeah.
This is probably the fastest we've seen since game number 1 in terms of how many teams we lost in the early game. So some of these teams maybe making that decision to be that aggressive squad. We were talking about it. Some of these guys need to start getting, get a fire lit under them and get out there and get some kills. And it looks like that's what's going down.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to play aggressive, a lot of people are playing in the Ash. If you want to play aggressive, now's the time to do it when the Ash isn't even in play. And yes, you might want your looted out M4 with all attachments. However, the other players also don't have attachments either. They don't have the gun either. So just go play your gunplay. Everyone's dropping with the MP5.
Even if they do have a weapon, most likely if you get on them quick enough, they're not going to have their full kit, right? And if you can get them where you're more comfortable with that just starting kit than they are, and you can get them while they're uncomfortable and don't have their loadout yet, I'm definitely one of those players that, like, if I'm not kitted out, so a little bit of action there from Leha as he tries to jump off the top to get the finish, able to get a ton of damage in, not able to get the cleanup though. Link going to go down to another player. Leha, though, he's going to come through and clean that up. Yep,
so he's the one that picks up the kill. So him and Peter Penn doing work. But now they're getting shot at from Zonky. Zonky able to knock Peter Penn. So it's just Lihachevsky here stuck inside the house and not exactly sure where the shots came from. So he's trying to get himself to safety. And that's one of the tough things when you're in such close locations. Yes, the points are there. Yes, it's doable. But, Leha has to reposition because Zonky realizes where Peter Penn is, and Peter will be able to get himself down the stairs, and Leha will get the revive in. That was close.
Yeah, it's a good play by Exalti there, by Zonky trying to make that rotation in. He came out around the side. He knew that that's the only spot that player could go to. Tries to get in, tries to get the player down. Unfortunately, that guy was able to get inside the door and get down into a safer location and get picked up.
Yeah, he was. Zonky does have a couple teammates there with him. But the whole O-Serve squad is there as well. Oh, Livachevsky getting a little aggressive there and able to damage right on back to Zonky. Now Peter Penn stepping on up, a.k.a. rolling in below on the bike. And Livachevsky now getting chunked, and he goes down, a.k.a. coming on in and picking up the kill with the silenced MP5. And now Peter Penn forced to hang on out. Livachevsky gets finished off, so Team 11 picks up 1 point.
Another player there down in the bottom. They both know that he's there. They know that they've put damage into him. They just need to get down below and get the finish on him. Another team, though, right across. So that's one of those moments, right, when you hear the 2 teams engaging, you know that people are taking damage. That's the moment to kind of jump if you're going to be that third-party team. However, it looks like, I think it was O-Serve, and it looks like they've taken a little bit of damage, which is probably going to slow their roll on trying to jump into a fight.
Yeah, so O-Serve just going to watch and see, partake. Peter Penn is hanging around the corner. Oh, here we go. A.k.a. Oh, he doesn't pick the corner. Oh, no.
You always check your corners. Always check your corners when you come around.
Yeah.
Walking by, that opened up the door for him. This player was able to go ahead and take out, clean him up. Exalti Zonky here was able to clean him up. Unfortunately, though, he's the last one left. Or, sorry. They lost a player in that situation. Had he checked the corner and pulled back, they may have been able to 2v1 him. They'd still have 3 up. Having 3 up in final circles, we know, goes a long way.
So we just saw the map there. And again, this is the difficulty when half of the playable area is water. Because if you're on the opposite side, like everyone in the northeastern corner or northwestern corner towards Ocean Park, you're in a lot of trouble because the map has chosen the eastern side yet again. As we take a look at Designer. Designer, he's also been around all this fighting the O-Serve boys and Team 11, the Zigedemonstre team. Zigedemonstre. I've tried.
Yeah, Team 11 taking off on the bikes. They're going to just rotate out of there. They don't want anything to do with this fight anymore. So they're going to get out of dodge. It's going to leave just Designer and O-Serve here. O-Serve, though, I think they're aware that the other team took off, and they're going to make use of this time to start rotating themselves.
So Flashy and the rest of Team 18 rotating on in, getting shot at by one of the teams we highlight a lot, Stellar 4, Team number 6, Youtsen, Ryans, and Patrick, raining down shots on Flashy, Lebrix, and Jin. Team Vice Wurst, another German team.
Ooh. Shots coming out of Stellar 4. They're going to connect into Flashy? Yeah, I'm going to call that Flashy. I figured it out. Took me a second, but I got there. So Flashy going to take a hit there, and that's great shots once again, though. I mean, Stellar has just been on top of their shot. They've been probably one of the best shots in the game that we've seen so far.
You know, this is very exciting, following along with Raptor the Raptor and Team Forsen as Raptor gets some shots. He does knock Lebrix. Lebrix is down. Flashy going back and forth. Not able quite to land. Jin also going to be peeking here in just a second.
I like that. You can see the skills of Raptor the Raptor there. Unloading, trying to get the shots over on the left side. Player peeks on the right, immediately is able to whip over in the middle of spray and get a hit into him. Great shots.
Where's the rest of Team Forsen here? Like Raptor
They're
the Raptor
back
doing all the
behind
work.
Raptor. They're back there just kind of like, yo, go get him. You got this, bud.
Moral support as they run into the safe zone, but this is a very barren safe zone.
I don't know. That might be the right team, mechanic. Maybe Raptor the Raptor really does need that emotional support. They're just back there kind of cheerleading them on.
This is a stretch.
If I'm gonna have a cheerleader behind me, Forsen's awesome. That's
You're not
that's
wrong.
What I have.
You're not wrong. As Raptor gets shot at just a bit, has to heal on up. Only one kill so far, and their oxygen takes relatively low as we take a look at who the Oxygen King leader is right now. It's Youtsen. Youtsen leading on team number 6. You can see that they are in the old zone, and the safe zone will be moving here in a minute and 30 seconds as we follow along with Team Forsen. This is their overall placement. So they got 17th. Oof, they got 17th in round 3. They went out early. They got 3 kills, but they went out early.
Round 3 was a rough one for them. They're not going out that early in this game. They're already up to 12, so they've made an improvement so far over game number 3. But again, we're talking about it. It's elims. Elims are really what's kind of carrying some of these top teams right now, and these guys need to get aggressive. They need to get some shots in.
Commencing countdown.
So the O-Serve boys realize, oh, we're the leaders. We don't want to be the leaders. Let's go back into the Ash and take a little bit of damage and reposition. However, they're about to reposition right onto team number 10.
Ooh, some shots coming out from Rebels here as they're trying to get some shots into the back of, I believe it's O-Serve, and now they're finding players. That's going to be guys off of Team Forsen. Kawawa Bear almost getting fully eliminated.
Commencing countdown.
I think Forsen's already down, so Raptor the Raptor and Kawa have a lot to do here to get him back on up. Yeah, Forsen is knocked, and he crawled all the way to the other rock, and I don't know if they're going to be able to get him as... Uh-oh.
I don't know if this is the squad you want to engage with to try and get Forsen up. Stellar right here in the wing looking for it. And they're kind of in the back side of this, though. Stellar has a long ways to go. They've got 4 teams ahead of them to try and get to the zone. It's going to be interesting to see how they play this one out.
Yeah, Forsen does drop here. So, Raptor the Raptor gets caught in the middle of the grappling hook. And so Raptor is dropped. He will get picked up by Kawa. This is the first time I think we've seen him get picked up by someone on his own team, not yet picking someone up. And now Rebels, Terry using the grappling hooks as fast as he can, trying to get himself to safety, trying to land down some fire back at Youtsen. Able to do so and buy himself some time to get behind some coverage, but a lot of players outside of the Ash and Iron taking damage every second that he's out. Terry able to answer back. Nice kill there onto Patrick. Patrick drops. Now Youtsen, long range, and Terry able to land these shots. Huge here by the Rebels, man.
Rebels getting really big plays here, taking out guys off of Stellar. That's going to be one of the leading teams, so they've kind of been the team to beat here, and they're going to just mop them up.
Yeah,
Great
only
shots.
one member left yet for Stellar 4. It's Bryans who snuck into the corner of the zone, but you could see the usage of the grappling hook. We've got to see the bikes being used, the grappling hook used for comfort, but not necessarily for battle. And right there, you saw how quickly Terry was able to get across a short area of land, get behind a rock, reposition, and catch the fight. Big stuff there by Terry.
Yeah, I think in early game, the shortest mid game, and kind of this early end game, that it's really useful. I think that the BMX bike at the end game, though, is really useful in the final 2 still. So we'll see. If they're up against another team using the grappling, they're going to be all right, but they're going back into another engagement. Team 7 and Team 4 right here ahead of them. Again, Terry just popping off shots. Both of them going to go down, though, as they get eliminated to the ash.
Yeah, again, right? You got to be so aware of the ash damage, and that was a lot of ash damage going down, and unfortunately for Terry and the rest Rebels, they drop. Here's another case here with Sent Files, team number 5. Oh, team 5, that's Rampage. It's the one we get baited by all the time.
Yeah, they bait us in. They put the SF on the front of their name, and it confuses us.
So Remino has to get inside. Again, it's ticking down 10 points per tick, and Dino 1 is able to get inside. Is Dino 1 able to get inside? Nope, Dino 1's not able to get inside. He drops and is eliminated.
He makes it in with 47, and he's the leader.
Yeah.
Everybody running pretty low on. They're running on fumes. Right
Yeah.
now.
When it's at 80% here, it's 10 per second, which basically means, hey, if you got 100, you got 10 seconds to get inside the zone right now. And the safe zone is about to move yet again here in a couple of seconds as Remino and Kaha need to keep moving.
They're in the bad zone, too. I don't know that they've got... Ooh, and he picks up some O2, gets up to 200, but he is taking a ton of damage right now. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to get his way out of this one.
Yeah, he's trying to heal up, will be able to heal up, and was able to find some oxygen inside that supply drop. And I think the guys that were shooting at him just died to the zone, or died to the ash as well. So he lucked out, and Remino and Kaha continue their traversing through the ash, trying to get themselves back into the zone. It's going to be very close. I think Kaha's not going to make it. Remino waiting for the cooldown on the grappling hook. Will he be able to get inside? No, he's not. Just 2 squads left.
Down to 2. The ash brutalizing teams this round as everybody's running really, really low on their reserves on that O2 side. Down to team number 4, and is that team 9? I'll say that's team 9.
Commencing countdown.
So Tatum getting right on in there and able to
And able to
just at
clean
least
it
show
up.
everyone else. And that's the end of the game right there. You
Yeah,
quite
it's the
see
end
it
of the
right
game.
there in the last
Yeah,
second.
looked away for a second here to check the notes, look back up, and game ended.
Sometimes it just be like that, just ending right
Sometimes
there.
you think you have a second. You really don't. You just don't.
You just don't. But that was round number 4 coming to a conclusion. And while some of the teams were consistent from the earlier rounds, there were a couple that ended up popping off more than expected, like before.
Yeah. Again, just a lot of different names stepping up. At this time, I think we followed along with, was it Rebels? Rebels did a fantastic job picking their number and then just shooting and picking up the kills. Again, and we saw a lot of aggression drop immediately from the start. Again, nice adjustment by these players. And we said, is it time for the adjustment here at the Hump Day game number 4?
Yeah, and speaking of the number 4, Team 4 in this case, which was No Recoil, and then Exalti, also 2 teams that ended up making it pretty far. Strong, consistent performances from them.
Yeah, great performances out of them. We've seen a couple different guys doing these strong performances each round, and they're staying consistent. It's now, can they maintain that through the back half of this tournament?
Yeah, and I feel like when things start to change at this point, there's more pressure. For instance, if you're looking at Stellar 4, where not as great, getting taken out a little earlier this time. But Digon, doesn't it feel very different if you fall behind here after round 4, as opposed to if something like that happened in round 2?
Yes, a little bit, but I think again, because this is a kill-based system, it's heavily weighted on kills, you really have an opportunity every round. You just have to play aggressive. And so you might see these teams that are on the bottom side of the bracket start just like reckless abandon, just dropping and trying to kill as many people as they can.
Well, and those teams that were there in those final moments ended it so quickly that some of you may have missed what happened, because breezed right by us here on the desk. So let's go ahead and relive that moment.
Yeah, so the OSERF boys were still, or Astoria was still up, but there was an oxygen issue here. So the rest of Team No Recoil start running on out there. And Tatum uses himself as bait, gets knocked, but that gives up the position, and Smolder's able to pick up the kill.
And one thing that is interesting, if you look at the practice of these teams leading up to it, just kind of looking at their streams and such, it seems like a lot of the teams in those final moments have higher oxygen totals. But now that we are in round 4, it's been very consistently low across the board. So Supersonic, how does that affect their level of play?
I think that it's coming into play just because probably there's a bit more pressure on the day. It's going to affect things and how you react. And also, you practice in an environment that's not all these same teams. They're not playing at this caliber. So you now have to make on-the-day and on-the-fly adjustments. And you're going to show a lot more respect to somebody's shot when you're not in a public match.
Yeah, definitely. I think something else that's happening here is that we weren't necessarily catching all of the action. Again, there was a lot of action to start things off, and we got to see one of many gunfights that were breaking out. So I think teams are playing aggressively and teams are shooting. It's just once you lose one member, then that's when you start playing a little bit more reserved, and that's what we were capturing. But I think it has been pretty action-packed for these last couple rounds.
Well, one team that you both mentioned during this last round, Rebels, team number 13, they had some great moments, and I'm sure these kills will heavily affect their standings.
Absolutely. Rebels had a great round. I think it was Terry or Tiri popped off. I mean, he had some great shots. I believe he got 2 different double kills that we watched throughout the match. I know that he at least got the one here, some great shots over the top, able to get a couple hits in, and then I think he comes out the left side, picks off a second one here.
Especially with the longer shots that he's having to take, D-Gun.
Yeah, and again, he did this against some of the top players that have established themselves in the first 3 rounds against Team Stellar 4, Yao-Tsin and Patrick. And we saw how Patrick was able to play aggressively beforehand, and exactly right there, Terry used a grappling hook, reposition, and get the jump on these guys. And this is not easy. That's some long-range shooting right there that he was able to capitalize on and get the kill.
Great moment there because he knew that he took out the first player. Right before that, didn't show it. He had been shooting at Yao-Tsin, and Yao-Tsin's moment to pounce was going to be while he was engaging his teammate. Immediately turned to look for Yao-Tsin to try and make that play and was able to catch him coming out. So great situational awareness, get some shots there. Unfortunately, the 0-2 battle was lost by them, and they weren't able to get back into the zone, but they had some great fights, really solid engagements.
Nice thing about that scenario, though, is that something that you can look back on to improve if it came down to that 0-2 struggle. So with the shots that we saw taking and the confidence that I'm sure they're feeling after that, Supersonic, do you think that that was a fluke round for them, or did they display some true skill that should carry over?
Oh, no, that's definitely some skill. I mean, they were showing great engagements. They were showing great swaps. I think that that's something that's confidence level is building. Me personally, I would try and look at it as a confidence builder and not look at that as a negative, and just go, you know what? We're taking great fights. We just need to get a little bit better at managing the 0-2 or maybe get our rotations a little bit sooner, tighten those up a bit, and I think that they're going to be solid.
I think I'm waiting to see a team expertly play the zone. Right now we're having teams that are not really caring about their oxygen, and Rebels unfortunately got caught in a couple of those fights. Fantastic fights, but died to the zone. That feels like you're mismanaging something somewhere. You have other teams like G-Link that are just not taking fights. They want to play pacifist mode and sit in the zone. So I want to find a team that finds a pretty good balance of kills and being one of the top 3, one of the top 4 teams that are using the zone to their advantage. And I feel like still waiting for one of those teams to emerge out.
Well, and one of the great things that Rebels did is they fully capitalized upon their class selection, because in ROE, there are multiple classes to choose from. So let's go ahead and learn a bit about those for anyone that's not as familiar. Now, the glider is an old-time favorite, suited for those that prefer to be skybound, especially popular in the early days of ROE. But the BMX bike can both traverse land and send you down nostalgia lane to middle school. At least that's what it does for me. But the last one, the grapple hook, never fails to hook an audience here, setting route to some of the difficult locations across this map. And interestingly enough, going into this, we talked about how the hook should be the most popular, but seeing some mix-ups across the board. Isn't that right, D-Gun?
Yeah, a lot more BMX than what we're used to. Got to see a couple of the gliders here, but as expected, the grappling hook is the one that leads the way here, because the utility of it, how quickly it works out. The only unfortunate thing is when you're using it, you can't use a weapon at all. We saw Raptor the Raptor go down. He was kind of stuck in the middle of a grappling rotation and dropped immediately. So
one of the exciting things about the way that round went, though, is I'm sure the standings are going to be a bit more hectic this time around. Some of the teams in the bottom maybe popping up more towards the top. And we're going to see that in about 10 seconds. Quick, any prediction of who's going to be in top?
No, I'm gonna. No. Anytime I get baited into guessing this early, I completely miss. I like to wait until like the last game to make that prediction. So I'm gonna let the board just tell me.
And lucky for you, we're gonna find out who's at the top of the total charts in just a minute. These are your round number 4 results for anyone that missed out. No recoil, once again proving themselves here. But Rebels all the way in that 5th spot with some eliminations to boot.
Yeah, Team Rampage as well. 9 kills in that one. Didn't catch a lot of those. And our boys from last round, Spitze, did nothing. They got 17th place and got no kills.
Sad day for them, but there's still a couple more rounds to go, so no worries just yet. Team Rampage still in that number 1 spot, tied up here, and a lot of movement across.
Yeah, Team Rampage is up there and kind of opening the gate or the gap there. They're at a 9 points ahead of Stellar 4 now. Pretty big. No recoil though, coming up 2 spots to number 3. A little bit of shifts. Right there in the middle of the pack. Middle of the pack shifting all over the place. Nobody's really taking over that 1 and 2 spot, though.
Well, no recoil, not no recoil. Team Rampage have just jumped so far ahead of everyone else. The median now is getting larger and larger, and that's what I've been wanting to see from a team, so I think we should focus on Team Rampage a little bit more, as well as no recoil. That's the second win, I believe, that they've had. The second one in a row, I think. So, again, they've done a good job figuring it out and working towards the top side of the map, but can they frag out with the best of them? And a team that's having trouble fragging out with the best of them is Forsen. Team Forsen hasn't gotten going since that first and second round. That first, second round, pretty good. We thought there was an opportunity here, but then again, getting caught out in these non-terrain areas is just so rough. It's so rough in this game.
And the prize pool only gets split among the top 3 finishers here today. Everybody else goes home with nothing. So as far as getting into the round soon enough, 130 is what we have left on the board. But Forsen, you mentioned, didn't really pick up as much during this last round. What do you want to see differently from them?
I need to see them get a little bit more aggressive. I need to see a little bit more support fire for Raptor. Raptor is definitely that guy that's taking the engagement. He's that point man. He's running the shots. I'm guessing he might be shot calling for them as well. Either that or he's completely gone off books and gone rogue. One of the two. But I'd like to see the other two get a little bit more engaged. Get more guns on target. Don't have just one guy. Get a couple guns. You'll tear them down a bit quicker. Get those eliminations faster. I'd just like to see a little bit more team play.
Yeah, a lot about Raptor, but let's see a little bit more Kawa. Let's see a little bit more Forsen.
Yeah, I'm kind of want to see what they bring to the table, but I know Raptor to Raptor has a lot of BR experience, and I think that's definitely showing for him here today. So I'm excited to see what the rest of the teams bring to the table. But any kind of silent killers that you think might be emerging?
Terry on Rebels is seeing those shots. If they can get some rotations and get a few more engagements, I think that Rebels could get some movement. He got all the elims, so they got 3 kill points last round,
right.
all at Terry. Again, if the kind of same situation, though, if the rest of the Rebels can get involved with him, I think that they can get a lot more elims. They can get things going a little bit better for them.
Yeah.
The teams that are working as a collective are definitely trumping a bit stronger over those that have some good individual performances, but as a trio, maybe need to glue things together a bit. And hey, we're about to get into round number 5 in just a few seconds. And we did get to see a bit more play towards the center of the overall map this time. Did that make you feel happy to see the whale?
There's a little bit of water. I got to see the whale. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, that's all we need, right? We just want to be able to see those landmarks across the map in Ring of Elysium. And they sure do have a lot of good ones. If you haven't checked out the game for yourself, you might as well go give it some play. Because I know even though they didn't show our kills, we still had a good time when we joined the players in practice. And soon enough, we'll find out where everyone's dropping.
Round number 5 here. We are past that halfway point in the tournament, and we are going to be, I believe this is game, probably similar to game number 3's safe zone here. So we're going to be a little bit farther into the east, a little bit more central on the map, so we're going to see some of those major cities that we've seen for the earlier games. And very, little bit different here. So actually Team Stellar 4 has moved over to the east side of this zone. They're not taking the same kind of drop areas. They've been almost in that northwest corner every game here.
Yeah, Team Rampage again dropping near Forsen. Forsen sticking with that seafood market. Let's see if they're up to something fishy, or will Forsen be able to get things rolling?
All right, round number 5. Here we go. It's time to see if the Rebels will continue to feel rebellious by taking down the competition, or if some of those that were on the struggle bus during the last round will make their names known once more. That much closer to finding out who brings home the prize in the moolah.
All right, game number 5. Gonna kick things off, jumping on board with Link Designer, making a nice little move there over the top of his handlebars as he goes in to grab a little bit of loot. Nobody ever picks up the Deagle, man.
Ah, man, yeah, the Deagles,
Come on.
there's so many different types of rifles here and gun variety that I think, unfortunately, the pistols get left behind.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely an AR-style game. It's you're going to see more AR than anything else. I think that's pretty common, though, across BRs. I just always like seeing the Deagles. That's always that one gun in the game that's like, oh,
I
God,
wonder if
it's
they
the
should
one
just
shot.
make it OP, make it one-shot headshot.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the actual damage is on it for helmets, but I'm pretty sure like starting zones right here, you can one-shot somebody in the head.
All right, taking a look here with Forsen, who has left the seafood market and started rotating out to another house to try to get themselves en route here because they're starting to slip in the standings. He looks at the Deagle as well. Nah, no Deagle.
And he's right here next to Team 5, and that is Team Rampage. So they should be either getting out or taking the engagement. Either get them before that team can get geared up.
Oh no, Forsen! He
not
forgot
like
how to
this.
bike! No, not like this! You
All right.
hate to see it.
Okay, Forsen eliminated here. One squad actually has been fully eliminated. I don't think Rap is going to be able to get him back up this time.
Oh man.
We'll not see the three-man gun squad that I was hoping to see out of them this game. But maybe Kawhi can step up and we can get a 2-man gun squad.
Yeah, but that's just so unfortunate.
It's
like when you're riding a bike, you're relearning how to ride a bike and you ride it straight into a fence. That's actually what Forsen just did.
Things happen, man. It's fine. He's got 2 more games after this to work that out. Maybe he'll figure out how to ride the bike a little bit better.
Unlucky.
It's unlucky.
All right, taking a peek here at the playable area. Our Todd City, one of the main spots that you could be in, same as Seafood Market as well. And so a lot of these teams will be rotating around as we follow along with Smolder. And now Smolder taking some shots at team number 20, at team number 20, so team number 4. This is our team, No Recoil, the winner of the last 2, currently in second place, trying to pick up some kill points. We haven't seen them do that in a while.
Yep. Smolder going to be getting torn up here down to 2 HP as they are in an engagement. Team 4 versus Team 20 here. Smolder trying to get behind cover, get a little bit of healing off. One of the players going to go down over on Team 20. That's going to be players off of O-Serve. In comes the press from Smolder and the squad as they look to take it to Team 20. One player from Team 17 also down in there. Maybe need to watch out for them. Trying to find an angle. Not able to get through the door. Apparently there's a small piece of broken door at the bottom that was just kind of stubbing his toe. He wasn't able to get through. Finally finds his way through the door, gets inside, and they are going to find that last player, get that elimination. So good amount of elims coming in for Smolder and the boys. Team 4 cleans that up. You can see one member of Team 20 is left down there in that southwest corner of the map as they try to get themselves some loot, find themselves a little bit of anything that they need before they get out of there. Checking out the map, that safe zone is going to be up in the top left corner. Well, I'm checking out the map. You can't check out the map, but when we do show it to you, you'll see what's going on. So a lot of teams going to be having to rotate up there towards that northwest corner here shortly. And on board with Cloudtail down to 10 health. Going to start healing up a little bit. Needs to just take a moment and get fully topped off. Doesn't look like anybody's going to come in, give him any trouble. He's going to be able to hang out for a moment and get topped off. He'll be just fine. Just very slow as he has to do bandages all the way up.
All right, so Cloudtail will help on out. Looked like our boys over on Spitza were shooting down team number 9, getting some damage, but not able to finish off the job. And there's multiple teams here in this area. Team 7 as well, Exalti, Fatima Ninja, Linky, and Nauser. Oh, Cloudtail able to get some shots down and get a knock there on Dolzen Penna.
That is the punishment that you get for getting somebody that low and then allowing them to heal all the way up.
Yep. So Dolzen Penna gets picked up pretty quickly, and we'll be able to heal on up. Duff and Ragnar, they're good teammates.
Good guys. Good guy Ragnar. Good guy Duff. Coming through, picking them up.
And so the prep time will be ending here in a couple of seconds. Oh, but Nade's starting to ring true into the barn as Cloudtail from up top through the little window able to damage Dozenpenner. Dozenpenner has to heal on up, but now multiple members up top here.
They've got 2 members up top, and then right outside this door to the right of Dosen, the last player is out there watching through the door, which is going to put an odd pinch situation on them where they can't really get out unless they take out off the other side. And then the verticality from the roof here from Team 16 is really kind of just keeping these guys locked inside this barn.
You know, and if you're looking at the minimap, Team 13 as well, peeking into the area and will join in, so it might be 3 teams in this area. Immediately dropping, Rakes goes down, and he goes down hard. He dies immediately, Dozenpenner. I don't think he noticed the one player outside of the zone, Duff, actually getting dinked as well. A lot of damage there in that gunfight.
I know we talked about wanting to see a bunch of aggression, but that might have been a little too aggressive coming in that hot.
Yeah, here comes Terry and the rest of Rebels. So 1, 2, 3 4 teams in this area, and Dozenpenner getting chunked there by our boy Terry. So Terry will be hopping on in. I don't think you realize how many people were in there. Super Mouse did go
I don't
down.
know if anybody knows how many people are in there. I can't keep track at this point.
Party barn.
You just need a disco ball, some black lights, a little bit of music.
Yeah.
Good to go.
There you go. So Terry trying to find the peak here. Dozenpenner healing up. Duff as well. I don't think they saw him in the corner. Now taking damage. Duff in the prone position, able to knock Terry. Terry's going to quick heal, but here comes the rest of the team. Duff, able to adjust, and Terry forgot to reload, or an early reload. He had 28 bullets left. Accidentally reload. Now trying to take shots and get shot from behind. Duff able to help out his teammate and pick up the kill.
That is going to spell disaster for Terry. He's going to go down here. Do still have one member, at least one member in from Rebels. It's going to be Dude, and he picks up a kill onto Ragnar. Ooh, nice shots for Bill. He's actually putting in a ton of work. That's
a 1v3.
1v3 out of Rebels showing up. Terry's not the only one. Terry went down, but it doesn't matter. Dude is here to bring the pain.
He heard you earlier. Supersonic said, "Stop talking about Terry. Talk about me. I'm the dude." Was able to pick up 4 points here in a hectic little barnyard area and get a lot of oxygen off of it too. As you take a look at Rebel's stats overall, not the highest kill leaders, but starting to move up the placement board right now, and now has a bunch of eyes still looking at him. It's team number 11, Zegeg de Monstre, looking towards Dude, and Dude's going to be able to leave out of here relatively kitted up.
He should have a decent amount of O2 considering nobody else has been able to loot anybody in there.
Yeah, you can see also team number 10 now moving up onto team number 11. Aventurist walking right into Zonky, and Zonky says, "Thank you very much. I'll take that knock." And Elite says, "Thank you very much. You fell for our trap card," named Aventurist. And so I don't know how Draft just got caught as well, but Draft chunked low, AKA now low as well. And so only one member left up here for team number 11. It's Exalted. Down he goes. AKA goes down, and team 11 getting eliminated. Team 10 picking up 3 kills.
On board with Raptor to Raptor. Him and Koa still here. Still hanging around. Doesn't look like they've picked up any elims yet. They're just kind of playing it really safe at the moment. Super passive. See if any opportunities come up for Raptor to take some shots. It looks like Team 6 is just outside over to the left there. Might present an opportunity for Raptor to get some shots, but it doesn't look like they're looking to engage right now at all. There's enough shots going around that they probably just don't want to give away their position.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't, but the zone is going to be moving here in 5 seconds, so Raptor and Kawa are going to have to get up, and they hear the bikes. Oh! Raptor! Says, "Eat it!" That's very aggressive.
Trap card number 2.
So,
engage.
Nice little pickup there by Raptor. You can just see the control on the recoil able to pick up the kill, but rotation of the zone means they're going to start taking some chunk damage here. 3 damage per second, 3 oxygen per second, that is. So Kawa and Raptor are going to try to smoke their way on out to safety. Here comes the first smoke.
See if this ends up working out for them. This is a rough situation. The player came, it was a free kill, couldn't resist, had to shoot him, but unfortunately gave away his position, and the zone has just swapped, so they have to now make a move. People know where they're coming from. Team 7 behind them, Team 10 out to the side of them, Team 6 out to the side of them, and 2 teams ahead of them on the way into the zone. This is going to be a really rough situation for Raptor to fight, and Koa to be able to fight out of.
Yeah, Koa tried to do the solo mission. He's already dead, so it's just Raptor now.
Yeah. Unlucky. Typically going solo is not the way to go.
Not in BR, and down goes Raptor. Now Zay able to pick that one up, and out goes Team Forsen in 7th place here. No points for him. As Koya trying to take some long-distance shots. We follow along with the O-Serve boys. One of them now getting eliminated, so only 2 left. Koya and Storia. We followed along with Storia last time. He was able to get second place, but they are far outside of the zone. The zone's still only doing 3 damage per second. The next one will start doing 10 damage per second, or 10 oxygen points per second.
Yeah, Team 10 still has a little bit of travel distance to get into the zone. You can't currently see them on the mini-map. They're out there to the east of Team 7. They're just now coming into screen down there, so they've still got some time to get in. Doesn't look like they're moving too quick. They might be riding on the grapple hooks.
So Peter Pan able to put his teammate up. We're following along here with team number 3, Masquerade. We haven't talked about him too much. Peter Pan, Lihachevsky, and Foxes. These 3 players. Team Masquerade, no kills yet for Peter Pan, but they'll be right next to the drop.
You notice the split here for Team 8. They're pretty split up. So they're going to be able to be isolated here by Team 3 if Masquerade decides to. They're going to be able to put 3 guns on 1, and they're going to be able to just mop them up. And it looks like they're going to be driving away, though. So Team 8 actually going to catch a little bit of a break here as Team 3 drives away from them. It looks like they want this airdrop.
Commencing
what
countdown.
Oh, they were looking for it, but it's not there. I think they've decided, well, it's not here. Time to go, boys. Back in the car.
Definitely time to go because the ash is here and the ash level has risen to the point where it's doing 10 damage per second, 80%. So everyone has to get themselves into the zone.
Yeah, Aventura's going to get eliminated by the zone. He gets taken down. Going to bring it down to 1 player left alive. So another player goes down to gunshots. Elite, last guy left alive for Team 10.
Elite hanging close. Here's the grappling hook. Now they're about to walk right on into him. And then he decides not to go into that building. That's crazy.
I thought for sure he was about to walk in that door, and then he just like changed his mind. What was out there? What tipped him off?
His team was saying, hey, come. Let's go. Let's leave. We gotta move out of the zone.
Now there's the one like the hoarder player on your team that just wants to loot.
Yeah,
And like the end
loot
game, he's
goblin.
like, hold on. This house may not have been looted. There might be a dead body. Let me go check that out.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
no, here now.
So Elite able to get himself a bit further out to safety. But he's going to be late in the rotation, and he's hoping that someone's going to drop some oxygen for him as Nowser gets caught out by Koya from Team O-Serve, but O-Serve gets deleted by Linky.
Linky with the quick turn takes him back out, so they end up trading, and they're just going to go ahead and leave him there and get out.
3 squads
Elite
remaining.
actually going to pick up that elim, so that's going to be a he's the last player left alive on that team, so he just secured his team another point.
Yeah, stealing a little point away, does die out to the ash. So only 3 teams left. We got our surfers here with Levachevsky and Peter Pan. Whoa! Vehicle on fire. They might not be able to use that one anymore, but they do get to the zone first and can play gatekeeper to both teams 6 and 7. And here we go, Patrick. This is our team that we talk about always. It's Stellar 4 stepping up, and they're able to pick up a kill onto Linky. And so it just leaves Fatima Ninja left for team number 7, Exalti.
All right, Team 6 using those BMX bikes that they're kind of known for over the course of this tournament so far. They've been using them very well in these late game scenarios, and they're going to be making their way into the edge of this new zone that'll be swapping in 12 seconds.
Keeping an eye on the oxygen leader. We haven't talked about it in a little while. Brian is 30 seconds away from
30 seconds.
winning the game here and is relatively safe. Everyone knows where he's at, but Team 6 and 7 want to keep going right back and forth, and Peter Pan able to pick up the kill. And so with only 15 seconds all the way across the hex, this will
15
probably be game.
Yeah, this is probably going to finish off before they can get there and get him. He's just
I don't know, he's in a
taking
vehicle though.
off. He's in a vehicle, but there's no way he can get out, get the shot on. Oh, it's going to be close.
Nope, Brian
He
stepped
reset
outside
the
the
time.
zone. He
What?
reset the time so that they can go and pick up the kills and get the extra points. It's
What?
so smart here by the rest of team number 7.
And they pick
team
up the
6.
elims.
That's so smart.
Well,
What?
What a finish there.
What a
big
play.
brain plays.
Yeah, 201 IQ.
That's what it comes down to. So, okay, going through that then, you're talking about how it's a big brain play. Starting with Digon, walk us through what was so phenomenal about that decision.
Right, so Stellar 4, the team that had the lead, they were going to win and end the game. It forced Team 7, or Team 8, which I think it was Team 7, to run straight at them because you have to run at them to end the game. Well, why not stop, reset the timer, and pick up 2 extra free points. That's exactly what they did. So smart there by Stellar 4.
Yeah, and with that strategy, it's not something you just come up with out of nowhere. Clearly, a lot of thought goes into that. So, Supersonic, what does that say about the squad in tonal being able to bring out those type of intricate plays?
That just says they have confidence in their gun skill. I mean, that was one of those situations where I don't even know if it comes down to strategy. It's this team is coming to engage us. We can win this gunfight heads up, reset the timer.
Hey, resetting the timer ain't a bad idea.
Yeah, and if you're Team 3, it was actually Team 3, Team Masquerade. If you're Team 3, you don't know how many people are still alive. You know that there's 2 squads. You know that there's 1 player that is the oxygen leader, but you don't know if it's 1 player, if it's 2, or if it's a full squad. And so they have to go send it. They have to go send it and go chase that kill, but then just very, very smart play yet again by Stellar 4.
Cool. Since it was a little wonky there in that final moment, let's go ahead and take a look at that final thoughts for us again here in the audience so we can really soak in the big brain play that was happening. Stellar 4, looking good.
Yeah, so situation here, they're the leader. They got just a few seconds left before they win the game. Decides to drop his O2 level just below a teammate. That resets the timer, gives him the option to take the fight. He's driven out to where he's pulling the car is watching him, pulling him out towards the side of the zone, and his team is already set up and waiting for them to come in. So they're setting up that bait play once again. They're doing that VIP, send him out far. They're going to come for him, and the other 2 are set up and waiting to take that shot.
Yeah, there's not much you could do with. I think it's the right play and the right call by Peter Penn and the rest of Masquerade. Like, you have to go chase it, because if it's only 1 guy, then you kill that guy, you win the game. But you don't have that information, and sometimes that's how it goes.
Well, both of you mentioned Peter Penn there in that last round. Lots of good stuff from him. So, Degon, what would you say were his strongest characteristics as a player that allowed them to stick in there?
I think anytime we highlight a player, it's usually because they're fragging out. And so Peter did a good job picking up a couple kills there and being active in the gunfights.
Mm-hmm. And is that going to be enough, you think, to try and rattle the standings for them?
I don't know if it's enough to rattle the standings. It depends. I forget exactly where they were sitting on the board. I think it's going to take a little bit more. They're going to need to frag out in these next 2 games. The top 2 seats are going to be really hard to take over without just really fragging out. You might have to get as close as to double digits as you can.
Well, yeah, but I think Stellar 4 did a fantastic job with that. Right now, it's teams 5 and 4, Team Rampage and No Recoil, that are in that 1st and 2nd place. But we just saw Stellar 4 say, hey, it might be a difference of 1 point here, but let's go get that point. And they've been a team that have been hovering around and kind of like positioning, and getting this win and having those kills, I think, are going to be huge for them.
Oh. We've got to check in with our wildcard team, though, with Team Force in here. They are the search trying to make it known, but they had some great stuff later on.
Not like this.
Didn't start off the best, though. We'll have to see. That was, if you're looking at the way they were in the beginning towards end, kind of different.
This is fine. This is good. We're looting. We're playing a little slow. Then he pulls out the bike over the edge, and then... No, we didn't show it! Why did we show him hitting the wall? That's what happened.
the extreme amount of emotion and violence that just came with your pen just across the desk there. Yeah, I mean, Forzen had a rough start there. And again, here is like awesome, pops out, takes that quick shot, gets it down, but your position's given away. And there were so many teams in the area there that as soon as a team knew that they were there, there was no chance for them to get out of that and try and get to the zone. I don't know in what scenario or what 300 IQ play would have had to have occurred for them to get there. It's way too many IQs for me to try and figure out.
That's not on Raptor the Raptor, and that's not on Kawa. That's on Forsen running into a fence and then getting stuck. That's where the game was lost.
Well, with them here, there are a lot of eyes on them, people watching, wanting to see how they do. So I want to check in with you guys, starting off with Supersonic. They're kind of in the middle of the pack here. Had some rounds where they fell off early, others where they had a better performance. Is this where you expected them to be?
I expected them to, at least make middle of the pack. I didn't expect Forzen to be the bottom team by any means, but I think this is probably about where I would expect them to land. Being a great gamer isn't going to carry you through when you're going into a game that isn't your main game, when you're playing against people that play this all the time.
I would agree with you, except round 1. Things looked so good. Round 2, things were still good. They were in 4th place. They were living up Force in 4th place. It was working out, and then after that... now they just haven't been able to string a full round together, and that's what I want to see. That's what they were able to do in round number 2. They strung a full round together. I think they got 3rd or 4th place, and they looked good. But since then, it's just been like these clunky fights. They're not together. Not everyone's shooting at the same target. I just want to see them like put forth a good effort.
That seems to me to be the biggest thing for them is that we're never seeing 3 guns up fighting against the same target or against the same team. They're not facing the same direction, which I understand needing to watch the directions to make sure you're not getting flanked or third-partied. But sometimes you need to just go ahead, focus up, and eliminate a threat. If you eliminate them, you can't get third-party if the other team's dead.
Yeah.
Now you can turn your attention the other direction and take that fight.
That's fair.
And we are seeing a lot of that BR experience roll through here. But for anyone that's out of the loop, Ring of Elysium does things a bit differently, especially when it comes to Ash and I. There is no shrinking circle, and the oxygen-rich eye never stops moving. So you must use O2 as your resource, staying out of the ash and grabbing extra off of your kills. The last man standing wins, but be cautious when pulling ahead. As we've noted, the O2 king or person on the map with the most oxygen will always be visible on the mini-map for everybody and can win within 3 minutes of the game. But that visibility can be a detriment. And we've seen some very interesting strategies in the way people play with that title.
I mean, the most interesting one has been that last one, I think.
Yep.
He did kind of what we see when it's longer, where it is that setup play, and you set the VIP, and you kind of barricade, and you make those plays. But they did it in a very quick succession there. They pivoted to it and said, you know what, we can get more points this game. Let's get as many points out of this as we can. We need to close that gap to first place.
Yeah, smart play there by Bryans. I think also it's so funny to see players run into the Ash to be like, no, I'm not the leader. It's not me. I don't want it at all.
Please leave me alone.
Yeah, please don't reveal my location to everybody. There are 50 people in this server that want to eliminate me right now.
Do not once. Do not once. You can has.
Sometimes people just want to chillax. And as you can see on our big old timer, standings are almost ready right about now. Round number 5 is in the books. And stellar for, man, how many top performances is that from them right now? Masquerade managed to show out in here too.
Yeah, a lot of performances here. A 10 point, 2 9s, and another 10. I mean, that's probably one of the higher point rounds that we've seen for total points in that top 4 situation.
Yeah.
All 4 of those teams doing a great job. 8 elims out of We Are One that game.
And We Are One now jumping up 5 spots in the overall leaderboard because of that 10 points they added to it.
Yeah, no change in the top 4, though. Those are all going to maintain. However, the gap between Stellar 4 and Team Rampage is down to 5 points. That was a 9-point bump between the two going into that round.
Yeah, and I think these are the 2 top teams. They've been playing like it. Their strategy is pretty clear that they know what they're doing. And I think, again, No Recoil has been playing a little bit more of a passive game. If the Hurricane, the Ash and I, works out for them, then they've found success. In that last game, they were nowhere to be found in that top leaderboard side. So I think they're based off of a little bit more RNG success.
And Dion, for teams like Masquerade and We Are One that just were able to jump up about 5 points, or 5 spots rather, each, you have 2 rounds left. Is that enough to try and travel off of that momentum to get into that prize pool placing, or is it now kind of out of their hands too?
I think it's a little bit out of their hands. I think there was one team that I saw on there. I think Exalti is currently sitting there in 5th. I think Exalti is a team that might be able to pop on up, and we've been talking about Fatima Ninja, Linksy, and Nauser. Those are 3 guys that have been doing a fantastic job getting in those gunfights, and they haven't gotten the placement points for it, but it feels like I'm constantly saying their names in a gunfight every 3 to 5 minutes.
I think it's going to be very hard for anybody to really move into those spots at this point, because there's so many teams that need kill points at this stage in the game that a lot of teams need to get more aggressive, which means people are going to get eliminated earlier, which isn't going to allow for you to get those really high elim matches unless you make it to the end game and you're in those final 4, final 5 teams.
Right. So I guess we'll see. I mean, Team Forsen is another one of those teams that needs to continue to get those points so that they can move out of that struggling position. I think they're in like 7th right now, 6th or 7th, and they're holding true, but you're not catching up to those top teams. So we'll see.
And it does feel like there was more of a skirmish early on, sometimes 4 teams or so colliding in that early 30% portion of this game. So Supersonic, do you think that's a trend going even more towards that chaos?
I think that you have to go for the elims. I absolutely think that's going to happen. I would expect more teams to try and do some of those early game starts, because if you can pull off that miracle game and you hot drop and you can eliminate 3 or 4 teams at the start of a match and get into that 8, 9 elims early, and then rotate out into the final 4. And if you set up the finals right, you can have that high 15-point plus placement game. I just don't know that it's going to be possible.
Only 2 rounds left.
Yeah, only 2 rounds to find out who will be taking away those slices of the prize pool. So we're getting into that right now. And I also want to see the BMX flag a bit better represented than getting shot off early. Thank you very much.
That was awesome.
Be forcing to pedal a little bit harder, maybe break through that fence. Alrighty here, we've got a just dead center zone. Pretty similar to what we've seen. That one city just getting stacked on right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4 teams going to be dropping in on Artad City. Can't even see the name of it because there's so many people on it. 3 teams in that northeast corner. 4 teams in the northwest corner. So a lot of areas that have a lot of teams packed in, and we're going to see some guys get eliminated quick.
Well, here we go. Only 2 more rounds for these teams to prove themselves in Ring of Elysium and claim themselves the kings of Ashen Eye. Only so many points are up for grabs, and only 3 teams will be walking away with a slice of the 30K delivered for today. So let's find out who puts himself in the best spot to do so.
Yeah, interesting thing to keep an eye on. Forsen and the rest of Team 1 got themselves in Fisherman Town, and on the western side of Fisherman Town, that's not playable. So you can only go east, and you have to go across a bridge or across the water to get there. So have to keep an eye on that as early action starting on off. Team number 5 firing off right away onto Proto, and Proto 5 and 15 going back and forth here.
Kaha going to go down first here. 15 currently in the lead of this engagement. However, 2 more members of Team 5 are involved at full health. They're coming out to try and give a little bit of support to Kaha, looking to try and take out Geeks.
So Dyna 1 rotating around. We've called his name just a bit every now and then.
Is it Dyna 1 or is it Dyna 1-1? Or Dyna 11?
Dyna 11.
11.
Dyna 10E. Let's see. Gotcha.
Oh, I see what you did there. Well played.
All right, so Ramino able to pick up the knock onto one of the Geeks members as well. And now it looks like it's a party because here comes the G-Link boys. These are the ones that are known as the relative pacifists, but because they've been falling a little bit further behind, they're getting into the action now.
I think that they don't have a choice. Unfortunately, the pacifist role has not been kind to them so far. It has not kept them too far up there. They've had some placement matches, but they have not, even on their placement matches, I don't think that they made the board into like the top 4 or 5 teams in that round, even with placement.
No, they have not yet, as we're taking a look here at the circus. And Ramino in a bit of trouble. It doesn't look like he'll be able to get revived here by his buddy Dyna 1, and down he goes. He is eliminated, 48 remaining.
2 squads out so far. I would have expected it to be a little bit more chaotic than this. I mean, 2 teams going down this quick is one of the faster paced rounds that we've seen, but I would expect probably another 2 teams to be eliminated. There's a lot of guys that need to get really, really engaged here. They need some Elans. Designer trying to get a couple shots down into Geeks. Proto there wasn't able to finish him off. Only gets a couple hits.
Oh, and Dyna goes down, and that's one of our top teams dropping immediately. That's Team Rampage. And so that opens up the rest of the game for everybody else. That's going to be huge.
That opens the door for Stellar 4. That's who it opens the door for. Stellar 4 still involved, still in the game. They're going to have some options here, though I'm using our little caster cheater vision map over here, and Team 6 is actually pretty split. Yautsin and the boys are have gone for like a odd kind of loot path where they split into 2 different cities.
Oh, Forsen. We don't know what happened. We just know that he reached his endpoint because he got killed by Team Endpoint. So Forsen not able to get another round going past the first prep time. And it's up to Raptor the Raptor to carry Team Forsen to the money.
The man, the myth, the legend, Raptor the Raptor. He's looking for Organize. Organize going to be able to zip line there across the way. He's going to get out of, he is actually going to take some damage. He goes down really low there, and I think that's at the hands of Kawa, and they're about to be in a pinch here, 180-degree pinch, which is a really rough one to work your way out of. It makes it hard to find any real cover unless you can get in something that has 4 walls.
Yeah, Organize is working his way on up into the opposing building. He knows where Kawa is, but ooh, Organize is able to drop Kawa, but Kawa answers right on back, so a kill for kill. That's crazy. I didn't know you could do that.
Yep, Raptor going to come in, trade out, or not trade out, but pick up his teammate who did trade out. Yeah, I haven't seen that happen. It does happen in BR. It's typically very, very rare that 2 players go down at the same time. There's things that don't exist necessarily. A lot of FPSs are just hit scan. There's actually bullet travel time and things, so it allows for those opportunities to happen.
Equally matched men both drop each other, but Team Forsen lives on. We'll have an opportunity. Let's follow along with team number 6. This is a team, Stellar 4, that is chasing that first place position now that Team Rampage has dropped, and they are far from the zone. They are very far from the zone. That's why you see them BMXing and then peek back and then BMXing and peek back. They're the ones that want to make sure if anyone wants to start running to the zone, they're going to run into them.
For them, they don't need to be that team that goes in and gets these elims, right? They're ahead of the pack of everyone. They need to get into those end games where we've seen them succeed time and time again. They play end zones very well. We need them to get there, make it to that top 4, top 5 team, then start picking up your eliminations. You can still get 5, 6, 7, 8 kill elims in those final circles as long as you make it out of all the chaos in the early game.
So Yatsen and the boys are rotating on over. And again, Stellar 4, team number 4, No Recoil, another team that's up there. Exalti, I think, is in 5th place. Those are team number 7. Those are teams that we should be tracking, just making sure, keep an eye on how they've been going so far. Send Files, another team that is that we should keep an eye on, and OSERV, I believe, is another team. So a lot of those teams still up, still alive, but you could see the countdown just bouncing back and forth. There we go. Did I get them all? Yeah, I got them all.
Oh,
All
look
right,
at that. Way to go.
It's almost like
a little high five there.
you know,
There we are.
We're professionals.
Yeah. It's like we're doing things. Team Rampage, though, they are out. They're gone for this round. So most likely, I would say that Stellar's going to probably put up a 5-point round. They're at least going to tie it up, possibly take over that number 1 spot, which is then going to make the last round very entertaining.
Well, Tatum has already been taken out here for team number 4. Again, the damage is starting to affect their oxygen tanks, and so teams cannot take being outside of the zone too lightly as Delta Fix and Smolder, the ones alive, trying to rotate themselves back out to safety. Oh, shots ringing true here by Rebels. And so that's Dude being the dude and dishing out damage. That's a very bad spot to park your car. So Dude trying to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I don't think it matters where you park your car at this point. They're just trying to get out of there.
Yeah, Smolder actually picking up the kill on our boy Terry, and so Terry falls. Oh, Tatum is actually getting chunked out here as well.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Terry earlier, but Dude ever since then has been very much wanting the attention on himself, and he's starting to land some good shots, trying to help his boy out. Terry's still in this, could be picked up if he can eliminate these guys. Doug can get him back into the game.
And he's gonna.
Never mind.
He's out. So I was incorrect. I thought Tatum was dead. He was just very, very, very low on HP. He's not dead. Yeah. So all 3 members still alive for team number 4, No Recoil, your 3rd place squad.
All right, Raptor making his move through, trying to carry for Team Forsen at the moment.
They're so far away. Can we pull up the map and show how far all this skirmish is happening? Like
This is.
they're very far away, and everyone is like converging upon each other.
I mean, they're not quite as far as Team Link that's in Narnia swimming across the water right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some distance to go right now. But yeah, these guys are playing so far out. Team 1, Team 4, and Team 20 are just all out of the zone, taking one of those really far engagements that just does it matter? Should you be there right now? Is this the right play? Because in a second here, the ash level is going to rise in 15 seconds.
Here we go. It does look like Team 4 is going to look towards Team Forsen, team number 1, and Rapta and Kawa are going to try to bike themselves to safety, but long-range shots are starting to ring true here as Delta Fix and the boys are still on the hunt. And at some point, Rapta and Kawa are going to get fired upon.
At some point.
Maybe not.
Not now, though. They're going ahead and they're rotating out north on those bikes. It looks like they're going to go ahead and get out of this skirmish and finally decide that rotating to the zone might be a good idea.
So Tatum picking up the kill onto Valley as Miner now getting poked up here just a bit. And now Smolder taking some damage. So Smolder needs to be careful because Designer from long distance possibly getting a little aggressive as well. 2 members of Team 20 still up. It is Fantasy and Miner
11
going back and forth. They're running out of oxygen though, so you've got to play aggressively here if you're Miner. Pick up this point. Nope, not able to pick up the point. So Rapta, or Smolder coming on in and cleaning things up here. And will be able to get his teammate up, but the Ash level rising now, doing 3 damage per second.
And this is one of those things you want to keep an eye on. This is
Smolder, so smooth.
Recoil, getting some shots. They're cleaning up. They still got a little bit of O2, but they need to get to the zone. Again, they're so far from the zone. I don't know that they can get to the zone in time.
Got the vehicle.
Is that car fast enough?
Oh, they're leaving their
We're
buddy.
going to find out.
Did they leave somebody?
Yeah, I think they left Tatum. It was going to be one of those things where they're not going to make it, and they decided to just go ahead and cut bait and run.
Countdown.
All right, so Tatum gets left behind. Let's follow back along with Team Forsen, who's now looking down the barrel of the second place team, Stellar 4. Oh, Rapta the Rapta, giving away his position. Again, the #1 team right now is Youtzen's team, the team that he's looking at, so they know they're there, but Rapta doesn't see Brian to his left. He's getting shot at, jumps up in the air. That's the worst thing he could have done. And he gets picked off. Only one member still alive, Kawa Bear, the last one up, as Brian's is looking to poach him on out.
I don't know if Cal's going to be able to get out of here. He's in a really rough situation. Youtzen's currently down and bleeding out, so it's a 1v2 situation for Kawa at the moment. I just don't see him getting his way out of here as these two move up as a team. This is one of those things that they do really well. These guys are always together, which was why it was so strange to me at the beginning that they did that split loot.
Right.
Stellar 4 has been a team that stays together. They play as a unit all the time. But they didn't get punished for it, so they got away with it.
They didn't, and it's pretty funny that they hopped out of the zone. They went into the Ash, and now Kawa is the one that is the leader, so they know exactly who just shot them.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kawa, he became the leader at a really bad time.
Yeah, the nade starting ringing down. We're following along with Brian's. He's trying to figure out where Rapta the Raptor is. He didn't pick up that kill, and that's going to be one less point here if Rapta dies to the zone, which it does look like he will.
Yeah, he's most likely just crawling out to the zone to just kind of take himself out the pasture, so to speak.
Kawa hiding in the bushes. Oh, there he is.
Found him.
I think Kawa forgot, hey, there's a big red dot on him.
Yeah, yeah, Kawa definitely forgot that he was marked and that they can see him. It's like, well, we're looking here. We don't see him. Well, there's only a bush. Take a shot.
All right, time to BMX bike into the next zone because it shifts right now. There we go. Zone has shifted. The safety is not there, and so Brian has to run in there. 10 damage per second now. We're at max damage of the Ash. And Brian,
It's up. Pulling fours in.
Yep, there we go. Pull a force in, exactly.
Commencing countdown.
And so it does look like Brian and the rest of Stellar 4 will be in the lead here and now put themselves in a fantastic position up against team #2, Senfiles, as the last couple is still alive.
So that door was opened. They went down early, and Stellar 4 is going to capitalize on this as Team Rampage allows them the opportunity to take over this #1 seat possibly.
This is something that we haven't seen in a while. It's going to be a 3v3 here as we close things out. And Joshy knows exactly where the opposing team is, taking some shots and dishing out a bit of damage. So it's bikes against grappling hooks. You'd imagine that the grappling hooks would have the advantage, especially in gunfights here, because again, bikes are good, but a lot of relocating here, and I think it's a lot of RNG. Where is this next zone going to pop?
Yeah, that's going to really determine it for them because Stellar 4 probably wants to get the O2 lead here to do the bait play and pull them in because that's what the other squad's going for at the moment. But they're going to be able to rotate out farther, so I think they're going to be able to cut on the bikes right past them and into that zone. Well, the engagement starts here.
Yeah, mid to long range shots, and as much as
These
it
are
looks
like
good, this is low probability. Low probability.
Low
without a sniper.
probability, a little bit of softening up, maybe try and get a couple shots in, make them use a heal or two, see if you can run them out of meds. Again, every BR is a battle of attrition to some extent. If you can get a couple hits in and take away some of the med kits, other things to soften them up for the later in the round, it's a good thing to do.
All right, 90 seconds till the game ends, and it'll be a victory in the form of Senfiles. So here we go. We're seeing it from Stellar 4. They're forced to push on up and try to get aggressive. These are 3 points waiting for the taking, as well as the fact that would give the first place position as well.
All right, still working their way in.
60
Gonna hop off the
seconds.
bikes, start walking their way in. They got one more player coming up on their back. Team's gonna get reconvene, meet up here, and see if they can take it to Senfiles. Slowly working their way up, just trying to find a good spot. These rocks, not too bad of a position if they can get kind of towards that larger one straight ahead that we see there in front of Patrick. A lot of cover, a couple options you can hop up on to get shots over the top of the rock, use left, right sides of them, but
30
currently right
seconds.
now the better positioning, probably going the way of Sinfile, but they're having to rotate, so the next 50 seconds, it's going to change.
Yeah, an interesting little setup here. They're spread out, and now Taylor trying to get the jump onto Patrick, even though he's the most forward. Yes, he's able to pick up the kill, and that's the victory based off of kills. Huge win there by Senfiles, but I think the overall story here, Stellar 4 getting the big points.
Yeah, it was an SF versus SF final two with Senfiles and Stellar 4. But in the end, Senfiles we did actually talk about earlier in the day and got the victory here. But you just said, Degon, very important for Stellar 4 to get these points right now.
Yeah, but again, the top 4 was a big cluster, and as soon as the top team, Team Rampage, dropped early on, one of our first teams to drop, that left it open for any team to get the points. But of course, it's going to be Stellar 4 to pick up those points. Huge for them.
Yeah, big plays by Stellar 4 to make sure that they capitalize on that opportunity.
And interestingly enough, going into this game, if you're looking at the top 5 teams, it was actually 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 that were in the top 5, just not in that order. So, you know, always unique little tidbit there. But Stellar 4, Recoil or No Recoil, and O-Serve all were still around for the later portion of that game. So when it's neck and neck like that, Supersonic, and you have that many teams in the top 5 spots that are in the final, puts a lot of pressure, especially going into the next round.
Yeah, there's a ton of pressure. Also, I think that the pressure just kind of builds over the course of the tournament. You're getting down. Like the pressure on Stellar 4 when they recognize the other team goes out. It's one side of it's relief, but the other side of it is
Gotta capitalize.
We have to capitalize here. And it's one of those things, how well do you handle those pressure situations? All those teams that are in those top spots are feeling the pressure. You want the money. It's those final moments, and you just kind of got to hold it together.
Yeah, and they did a fantastic job doing so. And again, like, props to SF to get the victory there. I mean, Senfiles to get the victory there. But again, I think there was a lot of action, and a lot of it had to do with that one big cluster. There was 4 teams that were very, very far from the safe zone, spent a lot of time in that gunfight, and of course it was it Stellar 4? Was it Stellar 4 that came out on top? I know that Team Forsen came in there for a little bit, and that's when we saw
Forsen was in there.
them,
Team 4 was in there.
BMX spiked themselves to safety. Yeah. That was pretty. It was No Recoil. It was No Recoil that came out on top.
I think FMN was in there too, because Miner was there. So Miner was there. So Team 4, Team 20,
Team 1.
They were all, yeah, Team 1. There was a bunch of engagements. And again, it was one of those things, was it worth it being in that fight that far from the zone? They were so far that the winner basically walked in with no O2 at the end.
Yeah, I mean, if you're No Recoil, absolutely, because again, you needed to find ways to get points, and in this game specifically, contrary to how they've played the whole game, they did not have the safety of the Ash and I, so they had to play aggressive, and I think they acquitted themselves well. They got themselves multiple kills and multiple points.
And compared to the hectic nature of that portion in the earlier game, the ending moment was a bit more drawn out. You had the team versus team with the 2 that were surviving, but it was Senfiles that ended up coming out on top.
And so, in this case, keep an eye on the mini-map there. You just had a triangle set up by Senfiles. They knew that they were being hunted, but by spreading out like that in a triangle, but close enough to each other that they could support fire, this gunfight was over before it even started.
Yeah, interesting setup, because usually we would see the other 2 players there would be farther forward with the third guy in the back, but they kind of set it up in an odd triangle where it was offset. So when they came into the zone, they actually had 2 players firing on them from the one side. Usually you set up a little bit different so that you can get 3 guns and kind of triangulate. A little bit different layout, but still worked out well for them.
Yeah, got them the win.
Yeah, and if you look at the rotations there too, in that final moment, you had one team that kind of had the high ground for a bit, and the other one had to force themselves to rotate around and grab some ground of their own. So in that moment, Supersonic, what do you think is the largest consideration for the team that has to rotate and work around the positioning of the existing team?
I think that the position of that zone actually probably would have determined that more. So if they would have rotated in, just threw the ash real quick on the bikes and gone in, the only spot based on where that zone was, I think it would have had to pull back towards the west, and they could have then moved to the next zone, extended that game a little bit longer, and had the other team pull into them. but instead they kind of rotated a little bit late, and unfortunately, because of the high spot that SF had, it forced them to come around into a spot where they were able to get pinched out.
As well as the oxygen lead, right? When we got to see, again, the oxygen king come into play here, and this time I think Senfiles did it great. I think it was Riobre that was the leader on it, and because they had to worry about that, it forced them to make the play then and there, rather than hope for the next Ash and I hex to be in their favor.
You know, they say you never forget how to ride a bike, but we have seen a couple moments where it seems like they have forgotten to do so, unfortunately. But hey, it still ended up working out in the end. And Stellar 4, we have to highlight what they've been able to bring across the board. A couple victories under their belts, a couple second-place finishes. So, Digon, when you're going into this last round and you're kind of still fighting for that top spot and you know the ones in that #1 spot fell out early, are you trying to go for a safer play here, or are you going for the aggression to try and make sure you get that edge into the first spot?
You absolutely go for the aggression. I think it's you need so many points that you have to include a hot drop. You have to include an immediate fight here. I think if you're only worried about the top 3, they'll probably go back to saying, hey, what we're doing is working, so just play our game. We lost, in the case of Team Rampage, we lost an early gunfight. We took a gunfight. We lost an early gunfight. We weren't together on that one. That's okay. That happens. It's a BR. But overall, the consistency has been there, so let's stick to our game. We'll look for hopefully a one-on-one or a one-team-on-one-team fight. We win that, and then we start playing the circle.
Yep. And Supersonic, so if you're looking from the perspective of Rampage, where, yeah, you fell out early and you're having to consider all of these things going into the last round and holding that spot, what do you think are the better strategies to try and make sure they work together more as a team in those fights?
I think that it's better off for them to try and do kind of what we just saw happen for Stellar 4. Most likely the point difference is going to be under 10. Stellar 4 played what they've been doing. They've been consistent at making it to the end game, and they kind of take fights here and there and get some elims and pick them up along the way.
Right.
But they don't need to go crazy aggressive. They need to make it into those end games. Or the option is if you know that you're in an engagement, you see in the kill feed that there were shots going off and Stellar 4 is there in the area, immediately become aggressive. You want to become aggressive, then take them out and then kind of cruise out. Getting those points, I mean, there's only a 5-point difference. So Stellar 4 got 4 of those points just off placement alone before their elims.
Yeah, it's usually about that information there at the top. As soon as you see the kill feed, that's when you start going.
Yeah, and there's only one round to go, but in case you missed out on any of the action so far, we got you covered. Take a look.
Oh no, force it!
Not like
this! No, not like this!
Just run into the ash and just die, deny the good stuff.
I think it's a little bit different here. Oh, nice. Forcing himself. Ah! Okay. Oh, he doesn't pick the corner! Oh no! I'm interested in seeing where Raminho's in trouble. The car is on fire. He ran right into Forsen, and Forsen's able to pick up the kill. He does get exploded.
Lots of activity going on. With
All I hear is a lot of yelling.
Forsen's had
a lot of Forsen. What are you doing?
Forsen's had a lot of unfortunate events today. So.
And of course, we're going to see them because everybody's got their eyes on Forsen. And soon enough, our standings will be available to you. About 35 seconds to go on that timer till we know how everything shakes out. Going into last round, it's a whole different beast compared to everything else. So, Digon, how would you approach this?
Again, top 3 teams, stick to your guns. Stick to your guns. If you're one of the bottom half, just go in there, pick up a gun, and immediately chase someone. Immediately charge them and just see what happens. And then, you have your teammates to back you up.
Yep, Supersonic.
Not a bad play. If you need points, go chase those points. You're going to have to get some elims. It's really your only option.
I'm feeling more and more anxious going into each of these standing reveals because we're that much closer to knowing who's walking away with the prize pool. Yeah, this is how everything turned out in round 6. What you holy moly about over there?
Senfiles with 23 points in that game. 18 kills.
That's a lot.
We didn't catch a lot of those. We caught a lot of Stellar 4, but Senfiles with 18 kills?
That's insane. That 23-point rounds will get you really far if you can do that multiple times. Stellar 4 is going to, off of those points, pull 2 points ahead of Team Rampage. Senfiles up 9 positions and into the money off of that round, and they've opened the door. They're only 6 points off of first place.
They were
That's
just
a
biding
huge
their
round.
time. Yeah, they weren't as active during the middle rounds that we saw, but during that last one, they made quite an impact. And Digon, it's only a couple points between that first and second spot. So, gosh, that's got to put a lot of pressure on these players.
And it's not just first and second, it's first through fourth. It's 7 points separating the three teams that we're tracking plus Send Files. Send Files off of that one massive round, and that's one of the great things about BR is it just takes one round, and here we go. Now everything's on the line, and who knows? Maybe Team Forsen can get themselves a 23-point round and pop themselves up into the money. Maybe.
If Forza can
Perhaps.
avoid some fences, I think that they got a chance.
As far as the motivational factors here, though, we're keeping it nice and clean cut with the prize pool because $30,000 are dished out today with $30,000 tomorrow, $15K to that first place spot with $10K and $5K to follow that. So I know sometimes when there's bounties involved in things, if you're in those bottom spots and you think, oh, let's try and go for one of those crazy stats. But here, it's all or nothing. How does that just change your mentality with this?
I mean, it is all or nothing. So this is the last hurrah gameplay. This is if you're going to do something crazy, this is the moment to do it in. So I expect the start of this round to be explosive.
Yeah, again.
If not, I'll be disappointed.
I care less about what the bottom teams are doing. I care a lot more about the teams that are in contention and what they're doing. And if that's the case and you're going into it, you assume that the bottom teams are the bottom teams because it's been 6 rounds of consistent bottom team. So give me those kills and I will take those points gladly so I can go fight against the other top teams.
One of the most stressful things, I think, is the fact that there are clearly more than 3 teams that are performing at that top level. We've seen so much back and forth. So it's kind of a feels bad, man, when a couple of the teams we've been watching, we've been cheering for, aren't going to quite make the cut. But here in Ring of Elysium, new scene, it's a great opportunity for these players, right, to just display what they can do in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime you have a tournament where you can show up big regardless of what it is, it's a different type of environment when you're playing and money's on the line. There's just more pressure. I think you get a ton of growth out of playing in these types of tournaments, and you get to see players go from something like this and see what they do next is always a cool storyline to follow.
Yeah, you guys are much nicer than me. I want to be in the top 3, and I want to go get that money, and if I'm not one of those, I'm bummed. Definitely bummed. It's not going to deter me from not playing, but here's an opportunity for even a team like No Recoil that we said, hey, a little too passive here. There's an opportunity.
Spawn plays, too, of this map.
Yeah, we
we're
are
all the
finally
way south this time. And let's check out where some of these top teams are spawning. They should be ending up right on top of each other. You can see, again, the split spawn from Stellar 4. That's actually quite a big change up from what we've been seeing. They're that team that stays together. They're our current points leader. We'll see if this kind of safe route spawn that they decided to not make not safe by sending the one player out really wide to the west side works out for them.
Let's see if any of these teams decide to change their mind right before the spawn comes in.
Everybody that's watching, here we go. It is round number 7. All the moolahs on the line. One last chance to prove yourself on Ash and I. Hold on to that O2, friends, because you're going to need it with the excitement ahead. So I know I'm ready, and I hope you are too. Let's get it.
All right, straight into the match on Yaltsin. That is one of the members on Stellar 4. Our team that is in the lead currently. I think they're only holding it down by 2 points, though.
Yeah.
40, what is it, like 44 points?
44, 42, 38, 37.
Let's talk about that. 44 points. Last game, a team put up 23. 44 points over 6 rounds. In a single round, a team just put up 23.
It's massive. It's massive, and it's
huge
possible,
round.
but you got to play aggressively.
18. That's almost a third of the lobby.
Well, one of those teams that needs to get a kill just did. So Tatum getting a knock there. Nowser as well. So again, just got to watch those 4 squads as we move forward. So Stellar 4, Exalti, Rampage, No Recoil. Oh, not Exalti. Was it No Recoil, Rampage, Stellar 4, and Send Files? There we go.
All right, that team has gone ahead and got back together. They've matched up. They're going to be able to pull back that Stellar 4, so they're not on that really far spawn. I think they may have actually swapped the spawn right at the last second back to being on top of each other. Maybe they were just trying to take a location away from people.
Yes.
And that's also a really good mind game play.
Which is indeed a spawn strategy. So taking a look with Friobre, part of that 23-point Send File effort from the last round. They are in one of the new areas again, right? They're in the southern area. Why does it say danger zone? Why does that say danger zone in the bottom left-hand corner?
Always the danger zone.
Danger zone. So we follow along with.
I didn't want to be the one to do it. I was waiting for you to do it.
Thanks, man. I'll be that
Yeah,
guy.
thank you. I appreciate it. Forzen, rather than walking out the door, has decided to go for the, you know, I don't know what to say about that play, but Forzen decides to go ahead and crawl underneath the garage door instead.
He's learned his lesson into running into things.
He did avoid it. He made it right through that obstacle.
And now he also switched from the bicycle to the grappling hook because we follow along with one of those, not the Senfile. One of the Senfile guys not on Team Senfile. It's Team Rampage. Ramino taking care of business here against Team 14 TT Virus, able to get one knock.
Senfiles has a chance at having 5 players go home with money today.
That's
They
pretty sick.
and they're all up there. So Senfiles is definitely a squad just overall. If you guys see somebody come through with the SF logo and you're in a public lobby, look
Yikes.
out. They're headhunting. View set right there on the other side. Ramino looking for a shot on him. He's actually just looking at the center of the building. The peak gonna come out.
Oh!
View set gonna trade with Ramino. So that's a second trade that we've seen happen today. That's not a common thing in most BRs. I'm not sure exactly how common it is here, but getting to see it twice in a day is pretty high.
Yeah, that was interesting gunfight there. And so Ramino peeking the corner, able to get it done, and his teammates will be able to pick him up. So that would have been tough for Team Rampage, losing someone in this final round so early as he was just stretching. He's just practicing his gun holding there.
Yeah.
And then he actually gets the gun out. There we go. They do have quite a ways to travel, so we now take a look on the map. And they've got not as much as fellow Forsen, Team Forsen has to go. It's a pretty far. It doesn't look like there are that many teams around, as now we follow along with the Outsin and the rest of Stellar 4 leading the way here.
They're kind of just set up in the rocks out here. Not too aggressive of play style. They're just kind of hanging out. They don't need to do anything crazy. They are the leader currently going into this final round. They're going to need to get some elims, but they perform really well late game. Again, they're that team that kind of makes it, gets a few placement points, picks up a few kills. They're just kind of consistent. They're not a team that's just fragging out, but they put up a good number of points each round, between 9 to 12 points a round.
Masquerade taking some shots at the leaders as they realize, yeah, we got to go. There's at least one team over there, but we got to go. We got to make sure we keep rolling a little bit closer towards the Ash and I and get to the safe zone out of the Ash. And I think that last round was pretty, like, what I liked about that last round was it felt like teams played a little bit better around the zone. I've challenged them to do that after we've seen multiple teams die to the Ash. It wasn't the case here. Now, in this specific game, you could see, in this specific round, you could see teams opting not for these fights when they're that far away from the zone. Yes, it's only 1 oxygen point per second in this first zone, which will start here in 15 seconds, but you want to make sure you're at least touching distance, close enough that once it starts getting a little hectic, you'll be all right.
You don't want to be in a 5-minute engagement in Narnia the way that we've seen people
Exactly.
in previous matches. Some of these guys have been taking fights out in areas that's just like, why are you here? Team Senfiles about to run into Team 10 here. They've got Team 4 hot on their trail, so no recoil right behind them. They're going to need to make quick work of Team 10 here and continue on their way, or they're going to need to turn on Team 4 momentarily.
And again, just building the stakes here. Senfiles and Recoil, those are 2 teams in the top 4 in that touching distance. So Senfiles, they had the big round last time, but they do not have the zone. They're going to have to fight their way out of this one. And Smolder's been hot consistently, and immediately there he is. Smolder taking down Taylor. That's 1 member of Senfiles already knocked.
Senfiles right below here. Smolder going to go ahead and finish and pick up that kill. Now looking for the shots down. Going to pick up Joshy. Joshy's gone down to Rio Bray as the last one for Senfiles, and he is hanging out right behind them. Delta fix TTDV could turn around for him, but they're going to get engaged and tangled up with Team 10. This is going to open the door for Rio Bray if he wants to make a play and possibly get a couple elims.
Yeah, Smolder knows. I think Smolder heard some footsteps, and he's able to go, and that is Senfiles getting deleted. And so Team Senfiles had a fantastic round number 6, put them in contention, immediately deleted by one of their contenders. No recoil taking them out.
Yeah, Senfiles going to get sent home. Fortunately, I think that is going to knock them out of any possible chance at that top 3 or into the money. But they had a great run and the best round we saw in the tournament thus far.
Now let's follow along
90
with
seconds.
Raminho's Luckily right there next to a drop. He'll take that, pick up the oxygen that's also in the drop. Some of these airdrop supplies have oxygen in them. So as much as you don't want to be outside the zone, you find one outside the zone, you might be able to stay a little bit longer with more oxygen reserves.
And a couple of the Senfile boys are still keeping it alive for them, and that's going to be members that are hanging out on Team Rampage. And that's who we've got up on screen right now, so they're still in this and doing well.
5 and 6 going right by. There are 2 other contenders, and they're going to start running into each other. Romino getting in a very aggressive position and lives with just 1 HP. And so Yautsin has already been knocked by Kaha, so Brian now forced to run away. And so Yautsin, the sniper of this squad that has led the team here for Stellar 4, has been hit, still alive, but doesn't look like Patrick and Brian's will be picking him up anytime soon.
Good rotation there from them. They might have a chance to get him. I don't know that they're going to risk it, though. It looks like they're going to go ahead and just let him go. I believe he did just get eliminated or fully outed. Yeah, he's gone. So down to 2 players on that squad, and they're just going to go ahead and bike out of there, get to the zone. They just took over O2 King, and they've made it to the zone. So we'll see what they can do if they can work that out.
Oh, there's Forsen. Forsen's driving. He's the leader. He'll drive.
Hopefully he's better than biking.
Safety. Oh, yeah, he's going to safety. So
is he a better driver than he is a biker? Or is he a better biker than he is a driver?
He's definitely a better driver.
All right.
He pulled out his bike and then ran into a fence, like right in front of him. He's definitely a better driver. Look how far he's been able to drive this vehicle.
You're right. Traveled great distance there.
Kaha getting shot from behind here by Masquerade. This is the second time Masquerade has just been like, hello, one of you top teams. Let's ruin your day. So peeking back on over. Nothing there. A little bit
late.
of shots.
A little late. Needed to pre-fire a little bit quicker there.
Probably should keep an eye on Patrick here in just a bit. Already a minute has gone down. Minute and 10 seconds have gone down. And just as I say that, Brian changes his mind.
All right, Kaha still here in this engagement. Going to talk back and let a nade loose. Romino going to take a couple shots to the chest.
Kaha peeking around the corner, trying to figure out how close Peter Pan is. Peter Pan on foot gives his location away. Easy pickup there by Romino. 2 members still alive for team number 3, Team Masquerade, as Kaha and the rest of the boys are more than happy to retreat after picking up that point. And it's interesting because look what's the closest safe area for team number 5. It's right there to their east, and that's forcing the boys playing gatekeeper.
Yeah, and that zone is actually going to swap here in
a minute and a half.
Minute and a half. So Forza and the boys either need to rotate now or get ready for a gun battle because Team 13 is coming up hot on their side.
Oh, he's forcing to be tracked. He's right behind him. Dude is right behind him. No, Forsen! Why do we always catch him getting shot in the back? It's not fair. Life's not fair.
Leave Forsen alone.
So Forsen gets knocked, but now Kaha getting into a gunfight back to the contenders for the top spot. Nice shot there by Kaha, peeking someone right in the head. And so that's Team 13 Rebels getting poked. And that's actually going to do Forsen some good because those were the guys that were shooting at him. Kaha going right back into the action. We'll pick up some of that oxygen in just a bit. And it does look like Kawa Bear will be able to get to Forsen and pick him up. And again, the damage from the ash, not in the huge area quite yet. But it does look like Forsen is picked up and will stay alive.
It is going to give some hurt here to Team 5 in a second. They're down to 24-02, so that's going to be something that they need to worry about. They might start getting some chunk damage off of them. And their team's up there in contention. That's Team Rampage. They need to make it to the zone. They're holding off a little long out there in the ash.
Right now, following along with Delta Fix, part of this no recoil squad, with Smolder, the current oxygen leader. So people do know where team number 4 is. As it does look like Tatum might have had some connection issues. He's outside the zone. Oh no! So this team that is in front here, let's take a look at that scoreboard there. No recoil, following along, number 4. Still in contention here. A lot of points to be had because there's still 7 squads left, 13 players alive. As Romino going to take a shot, and that's Kawa getting killed, and that's 6 points, 6 kills here so far for Romino, even after he dropped early on in the game.
Yeah, he's been having a stellar round here for himself. Looking for another fight here, possibly with Poman right over the top of the hill. See if he ends up deciding to take this shot. He's by himself. I mean, you're in a tough situation. You're in those top spots. You want to keep yourself in the money. Do you go for elims here, or do you go for placement for guaranteed points? Which one is a higher probability chance? And that's the battle that Ramino is going to have to make on every decision here going into the end. And he actually has no problem with it whatsoever. I have no idea what I'm talking about. He decided that everybody is going to get shot
I agreed with you. I agreed with you. And then Ramino's like, nah, we're just going to shoot at whatever moves.
He has one-track mind here. He has 6 elims. His gun's feeling hot, and he wants to make use of it.
Yeah, but he's about to run into one of the competitors, Stellar 4, hanging around. So Smolder dropping Brian. So that's a big pickup there by team number 4.
That's huge. That actually backs them off of him. That gets them to leave Raminho alone. Team 4, though, looks like they are in a rush situation. They are looking to take out Ramino right now.
Oh, Ramino shooting Smolder. Smolder is the oxygen leader. Now Fix, Delta Fix coming on in, and he eliminates Ramino. So that is all she wrote there for team number 5, Team Rampage. They're the ones chasing, and this is a very solid round here for No Recoil. Team number 4, they've got the lead. They're now putting pressure on all the teams to start getting very active.
Yeah, they're down to 1 player left, though. Patrick going to be the last one left alive for this squad as Brian finally bleeds out.
30 seconds.
Patrick trying to figure out what the play is. Pullman is just rotating on around and might make a play towards the victors, but this game's going to be over here in 15 seconds if no one makes a move here on Smolder.
15 seconds.
No full teams left alive right now. No Recoil, another one of those contention teams. They've got 2 up. Team 8, which is going to be O-Serve, one of the other teams that we were trying to watch for the day. I'm not sure where they are in the placement. I don't believe that they're in that top 5 spot currently. They're going to need some big elims.
All right, and that's all she wrote there. Smolder and the rest of No Recoil happy to take the victory after what they had done. Placement points, that's good enough for them. So I'm very excited to see how these points shake out.
2 rounds that ended where the O2 King was very influential in the end. And man, everybody that was already in the top of the standings made sure to show out in round number 7. So Supersonic, any team in particular, regardless of how things shook out there in the end, that you were very impressed by compared to the rest?
I mean, I can't say enough. Stellar 4 has been consistent all day long. They've been consistent through 7 matches. They've been at the in-game top 4 positions almost every single round.
I think on the opposite side, when you look at individuals, we've said Ramino's name a ton today, and he had 6 kills in that round by himself. So that's at least 6 points for another contending team, Team Rampage.
It's so hard to know how things are going to end up shaking out in the standings. And of course, we will eventually have those for you, which, as a reminder, this was the last round. So standings are going to be more important than any other time determining who will be taking home the heftiest part of that prize pool. But looking at some of the other teams that we had available here, maybe not in the top, we'll give them plenty of talk time, but we got to revisit Forsen real quick. There was kind of that battle out that had happened during the mid-game, and I know, D-Gon, you called it out. You said, why we always got to watch him die getting shot in the back?
Yeah, it always feels unfortunate that he hasn't just been straight up in a gunfight, but we always cut in, and it's like, oh, Forsen's down. Here comes Raptor the Raptor to go pick him up. Kawa Bear's behind him to pick him up, and it just an unlucky day of gaming. Happens when you play, but not the best.
And if
Not the day you want it to happen on.
Yeah, not always what everyone is looking forward to. But D-Gon, if you missed out on how he felt about this moment, we're here to remind you.
I'm hot on their side.
Oh, he's Forsen's being tracked. He's right behind him. Dude is right behind him. No, Forsen! Why do we always catch him getting shot in the back? It's not fair. Life's not fair.
Leave Forsen alone.
So we follow along with captain of Team Forsen, Mr. Forsen himself, and yeah, that's.
You were more scared than Forsen was for him.
I didn't hear him. I didn't hear him at all. So
that man was a
Forsen able to
ninja.
pick up a kill and force out team number.
Okay, that Forsen got an elimination.
You gotta kill
there.
it. It's not all bad. It's not like he did bad. It's just like I get so stressed out when watching him because everyone trying to snipe him, and it's not fair. But he did well. He was able to get that jump kill.
Yeah, D-Gon, official biggest Forsen fan here on the desk at the event, based on your reaction there.
At least most concerned.
Yeah, at least most invested in
Yes,
their performance
absolutely,
here today.
absolutely.
We'll go with that one. But aside from them, we had the teams we were talking about during the last round because they were the ones actually gunning for that prize pool money. You're looking at Stellar 4, you're looking at No Recoil, which really had some pop-off moments, especially with the kills racking up.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see this because Stellar 4 I don't think had a ton of eliminations there, but they had the higher placement.
They did.
But then there's No Recoil, who we know have at least 6 points.
And they won. And that's the thing with No Recoil. They could have made the decision to do what one of the other teams did earlier. I think it was Stellar 4 did earlier, where they could have stepped outside into the ash and then reset the timer, right, to force people to continue to run at them, to come at them. But they did not. They were more than happy to take the victory. They were more than happy to prevent kills going to some of the other teams like Stellar 4, and we'll check the scoreboard once it's ready to go.
One of the teams we talked about a lot going into that last round was Send Files. Great performance during the previous one with 18 total eliminations for their team. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out for them in this game, but overall still managed to show out as a team.
Yeah, I mean, they still came in, they still played well, took some engagements. They were able to, they unfortunately ran into Team 4 here, who ended up having the height advantage, ends up cleaning up 2 of them. One player was able to stay alive for a bit longer, but eventually Team 4, before they engaged that next squad, realized, hey, we forgot somebody. We don't want to take the engagement until we go back and make sure that you full clear. You don't want somebody to be able to take advantage of that situation. They're going to come back around here, find Riobre, and that spells disaster for them.
Yeah, but I don't think that takes away from one of the sickest rounds that we've seen in Ring of Elysium. Again,
The
just
sickest I've seen so far.
it was 23. It was 23 points
23
in a
points,
single
18
round.
elims, first place.
Yeah, if you take a look at the graphic there, it's a single game kill count there for Riobre. 8 kills alone. And we've seen a lot of guys push 5. Again, this round we saw 6 from Raminho, but 8 kills by one guy. That means it wasn't just one person that got all 23 kills. That was a team effort for Senpai.
And that's something that we talked about time and time again. We want to see team fights. We want to see you engage with your squad, get guns rolling, all of you, assist each other. If you get more shots down range, higher chance of getting the elimination. And that's the team that I think has shown that it does work when you get that running.
Yeah, but unfortunately for them, they didn't do well in that round number 7, and that leaves the other 3 squads that were basically there the whole day. No Recoil, Team Rampage, and Stellar 4 fighting for that top spot.
Well, unless a team ended up challenging them off the screen at some point, that 8 kill count is also the top kill count for a player in any of the rounds so far today. So very impressive from them. But as we can see by the rosters, they do have some teammates they're familiar with on other squads here as well. If you look over at Team Rampage, Ramina, we already talked about, but even Dinah and the rest of the team pulling together as a collective. And I'm just wondering, Digon, if there's anything they could have done differently to try and secure the spot, or how were you feeling about their overall performance once their brothers fell on the wayside?
Which teams? Send Files or?
Taking a look at Team Rampage.
Team Rampage, I think they did a good job together. Remember, Raminho died first. He got dropped first in a gunfight 1v1 that they traded both limbs. However, he had his teammates to pick him back up. He was able to get revived, and I think because of that, they got a pretty good round out of it. The spawn itself was very far away from the safe zone, so I think for all the things that were thrown at them in terms of RNG, where other people spawned, where the eye spawned, they did pretty good, and at least 6 points there for Raminho and a top 5 finish.
And everybody, we are getting the standings together. They're the most important standings of the day because they determine who's walking away with the prize pool, which, if you forgot about that, $60,000 across the board, $30K reserved for tomorrow, but $30K here today as well, $15K to first place, $10,000 for second, and in third you have that $5K remaining. So much more to fight for, but I also just want to get your general thoughts about seeing Ash and I on display here and seeing the way that these teams manage all the aspects that you have to think about. O2 management, the interesting rotations. Supersonic, what are your impressions of how these players have grasped the uniqueness of this game mode?
I love the uniqueness just from how they're playing it out, period. They're playing really fast-paced matches. It feels a bit quicker. It feels like there's always something kind of going on.
Right.
And we don't have a ton of lull points in it. So I just love the game all the way through. Casting, it's a ton of fun. There's always something going on.
I think while they're starting to get more familiar with the Ash and I game mode and the Oxygen game mode, I think it's very important for teams to understand how to properly utilize that. And we got to see players and teams start building strategies around it. Are we an outside the zone team? Are we going to camp on inside the zone? Are we going to gatekeep? Are we always going to be the first to move? Like, there was a lot of things growing here, and I think there's a lot of potential here that we'll get to see tomorrow as well.
And our top-notch timer is underway. Less than a minute to go until we know who's walking away with the biggest slice of the prize pool. About 22 seconds. So quick predictions from each of you. Team, who do you think is going to take #1 spot?
I'm going to stick with Stellar 4. I've been talking about them all day, and I'd like to see them get a #1 since they were that team that took second in the Thailand Invitational.
Yeah, I think it's Team Rampage. I think although that they didn't finish highly, they had a ton of kills in the last round. But again, props to No Recoil for finding a solid balance.
Well, I'm excited to find out, of course, as per usual.
It was
as your
17 points.
round 7 results. Yes, 17 in total. 12 kills going over to No Recoil.
Only 5 points to Stellar and 10 to Team Rampage, even though they went out fairly early.
Here are your final leaderboards. So you see 11 through 20 on the wayside, but 6 through 10. Exalti just missing the cut there. And they were forefront there for a while. Oserv at #5.
Yeah, Oserv had a consistent day there, back and forth. It's Send Files as expected.
Drops
at 4th.
one.
Here we go.
All right, these are the ones that get the prize money. Stellar 4
Drop.
in the #3 spot. So who ends up taking that #2? It shall be shown.
Oh.
It is No Recoil in that #1 spot with Team Rampage there in the second, and only 2 points between them.
Yeah, No Recoil with a massive final round. And to be honest, I think this is the team that has felt the balance the best. I was like, oh, they're only getting points based off of hanging in the zone. Last round, they were outside the zone, took that long fight, and then this time they picked a fight with a fellow contender in Send Files, got the kills, and got the team victory. Smart play by them. Congratulations on getting $15,000 richer.
That feels good.
1,000.
15,000 feels pretty good. I mean, $5,000 each, that's not too bad.
Yeah, and they are your champions. No Recoil sitting in that #1 spot. And you can't ask for anything better than the fact that it goes all the way to round 7 is what ended up determining, as you touched on, Deacon. That's got to be a lot of tension that's maintained for the team going through. Well, this is your final prize pool, everyone. We have awarded 30,000 of this. No Recoil in that #1 spot, your EU champions, with Team Rampage and Stellar 4 soon to follow. But hey, 10K and 5K, I think you're still feeling pretty good about that one.
I'd feel great about either of those. 10K, 5K, both sound good to me.
Absolutely. Congratulations, No Recoil. Earning it, deserving it, and finding the balance here in our first Amazon Cup. But very excited to see Team Shroud. Team Shroud, woo!
We have our EU champion, No Recoil, but we still need an NA champion. Deacon, you seem pretty hype about Shroud over there. What are you looking forward to most then tomorrow?
I'm looking forward to seeing Skadoodle snipe things again. That's what I'm most excited for. Yes.
That's so exciting. And what about you? Last exciting thought going into tomorrow's NA matches.
I mean, it's got to stick to the Shroud show, right? Does his insane shot mechanics and that team's just raw ability to shoot heads outweigh some of these guys that play this game all the time? I'm excited to see how they're going to stack up.
Whew, I'm sure we all are. And everyone in the audience as well. Make sure you tune in again tomorrow for our North American portion of the Ring of Elysium Amazon Cup. Congratulations again to No Recoil for their victory. But until next time, everyone, good morning, afternoon, evening, and good night. Stay cool, friends.
Сейчас я вам.
Что было? У нас -то там
вот так.
в последней катке вылетел в самом конце игры.
Блять, чуваки, короче, сори за мой вид, блять, за все это, блять. У меня тут бутылка, блять, какая-то нахуй от лимонада, и даже не одна, блять, не похуй просто.
У меня просто жвачки, блять, разбросаны. Две бутылки энергетика, с которых меня тошнит, и я, блять,
Да,
блювал
меня
в катках
тоже
2 раза ходил. Боже, это...
Че, включим стрим?
Я уже стримлю.
Это уже стримит, Алёша.
Я не про этот стрим, я про то, что этот...
Обозревать.
Я думаю, можно сначала поболтать.
Посмотрим. Ну, типа, давай включим, там все равно не нас одних показывают, как бы, ну ебаный в рот. Давай посмотрим, что остальные делали.
Ну,
Ребят, давайте я отойду на пару минут.
Давай, потом подключишься. Тогда 14:05 ставь. Или 15:05. 15:05 ставь.
пол я уже целовал, ребят.
Блять.
Просто
Нет, даже не 15.
после катки сразу.
Даже куда ставить. О, можно на этот. Короче, 23 минуты где-то, 23:32. Где шампанское? Бля, нету, пацаны. Нету. Ну это такой пиздец.
Пивас здесь. Слушай, а у них что, платно подписаны? А, во, все.
Бля, чуваки, это так... Это, блядь, ладно. Короче, я готов.
Можешь первый взнос в ипотеку вносить? Не знаю, посмотрим, что будет. У меня так, блядь, сердце билось, вы не поверите, ребят, когда мы поняли, что мы, блядь, уебали всех лидеров и остались...
Короче, подожди, блядь, надо сначала показать, какой у нас разрыв был в начале после...
Вначале мы просто сосали. 30 человек на стриме. Всем здорово.
Парни, всем привет, кто пришел.
Здорово, Юр, спасибо огромное, спасибо.
Это такой пиздец. Че сюда зашел-то, блядь? Рофл.
А когда первая катка начиналась?
23:32 у меня стоит, пускай где-то. А, подожди, я даже скажу, когда.
Ну, короче...
Что там лякает? Короче, 23:30 ставь. 23:30 там уже каточка, и там, ну, типа, уже все заспавнились, там можно уже смотреть.
Потому что мы 3 топа взяли из 7 кат.
Подожди, 3, почему 3? А, да, 3. А может и не 3. Да, 3. Это такой пиздец.
А я, честно, даже таблицу не смотрел, ребят, я не знаю у Горяна, как там было, я авантюриста тоже не смотрел.
Мы не смотрели, но авантюрист, мне кажется, нам отдался в последней катке просто специально, честно скажу. Потому что мы убили 2 его типов, и он стоял на горочке такой, типа, и практически не стрелял.
А, Игорян стримил? Ну...
Как будто то ли куда-то в воздух, то ли еще куда-то. Короче, ну, типа, авантюрист, спасибо тебе огромное, типа, за то, что никого не убил из нас. Спасибо тебе, дядя. Это прям пиздец, ты нам помог, на самом деле. Если он нас слышит.
Я в воздух стрелял вечно.
Бля, это такой...
Просто мужчина, блядь.
Спасибо, дядь. Спасибо, дядь, это просто пиздец.
Жесть, блядь, это жесть. Вы понимаете, мы просто... Это нисколько, сразу скажу, не ЧСВ. На нас гнали, что мы за счет воды и DPV выиграли прошлый турнир. Якобы мы ничего не могли сделать без DPV. И мы,
что
блядь...
все вылетали, блядь. Сегодня у нас там вылетел, блядь.
Сегодня у нас в финале вылетел игрок, блядь, ну...
Причем только у нас, ни у кого больше, по-моему, не вылетало никого. Вообще. Только Фотимала вылетел один раз, он между каток вылетел.
Пипец, молодцы просто.
И его подождали, он
Просто.
зашел
Я
обратно.
так и думал, что они
Давай уже смотреть, блядь.
Да, она
хорош.
рыла, ебать. Я до сих пор не верю, блядь.
Короче, я включил пока.
Спасибо за фоллоу, thank you.
Я пока включил.
Просто лучше.
Так, у тебя сколько времени там? У меня
У
24:03.
меня 23:44 пока. Ну, они тут бегут просто наверх. Сейчас я тебе скажу, когда 24:03 будет, тогда окей?
23:50 я просто.
У
Сколько
меня
они
уже
там
54
заработали
здесь.
это?
Ладно, давай, я тебя жду. 50, вот будет 24, я тебя жду.
Сколько у нас бакс?
Ровно.
65, 25.
Давай, раз, два, три.
Поехали.
65, 25.
Короче, мне интересно посмотреть, что делали остальные команды, я вот честно скажу.
15.
Комиссия, я хз, ребят, ничего не знаю вообще.
Мы еще вообще ничего не знаем, ребят. Мы, блядь, только счет знаем финальный.
Да, мы знаем только то, что мы только что победили. Бобонос тепло поздравляет.
Спасибо ему.
Приз 978 тысяч рублей. Да. Почти лям. Можно позвонить маме и сказать: мама, мы выиграли миллион.
Но, знаешь, потом такая мама ждет от тебя лям. Ну, мам, ну тут
Он на
такое,
троих.
короче, мы его втроем выиграли. Ну, плюс там комиссия, короче. Блядь, в
Мам,
итоге
короче, на
5000
шаурму
рублей тебе
хватает.
приходит. Это пиздец.
Поздравляю, спасибо огромное, Скролл, спасибо. Это опять жесть.
Короче, предлагаю в Москву сгонять и побухать там с Серегой, если то там не сможет хотя бы с Серегой.
Кто там?
Молодцы.
Мне кажется, теперь...
Он отошел.
Я думаю, теперь он может все, блядь.
Ну,
Спасибо
бля,
за
я бы не
чем,
сказал,
спасибо
блядь,
огромное. Спасибо всем.
Ему-то очень далеко ехать до нас, типа. Прям очень далеко. поэтому
Чемпионы.
я не знаю.
Красавцы
Ой, сетки,
просто.
смотри, как, блядь, передвигаются. Они просто по краю карты поехали.
На сетке
Внизу в
сейвово
самом.
играли, молодцы, у них
Да,
тоже тактика
да.
была.
А мы тем временем пиздились с этими типами
А,
наверху. И там еще эти
No Recall
подтянулись,
просто
короче.
всех пиздила.
Погоди, это первая же катка?
Да, это первая катка, и мы уже
Где-
откисли здесь.
Да, мы прям в первой катке в самом начале откисли с 2 килами.
Да,
Да,
Смолдер, говорят,
первый-
танцевать будет. Смолдер будет делать грязь. Вообще делать будет все.
Смолдер, блядь, уже сделал грязь.
У Смолдера теперь есть видеокарта, ребята, а у вас есть косплей на Sailor Moon.
Не,
Чекайте.
нихуя, условия были не такими.
Я тоже приеду. Руслан, мы всех ждем. Всех, кто может. Можно будет вообще встретить,
No
сходку
Recall
устроить.
чемпионы. Молодцы
В
вообще.
МСК кто сможет, приходите. Замутим сходняк.
Спасибо, Коматос, огромное.
Блять, это... У меня... Я просто сидел, знаете, перед шестой каткой. Я не знал, блять, я... Ой, перед седьмой, перед последней каткой. Я сижу такой и думаю... Типа, боже, блять, дай нам нормальный опен. И, блять, легких киллов в этой катке, все, нахуй, больше ничего не надо.
Я бы не сказал, что... Ну, кроме авантюриста, там легких киллов не было, на самом деле. Хорошо.
Ну, интересно, да, он вышел в воздух стрелять.
Молодцы вообще.
Я, блядь, еще думаю, почему он меня не убивает? Что это за тип такой странный, блядь? Потому что я в него закосил нормально там поначалу.
После первой катки, не, у нас, кстати, Влад вообще не дезморалил и не рейджил, он нормально. У нас довольно-таки спокойное было общение, все игры.
Мы когда играем турики, у нас вообще дизморали нет никакой никогда. Мы когда,
Мы
блядь,
в
праки,
прострации.
когда праки играем, у нас бывает там такое, что мы типа это, ну, начинаем как там ошибки какие-то разбирать, типа, вот это бывает, вот так нет. Во время турика ни прошлого, ни позапрошлого, ни когда я дуо там играл с лукачаном, никогда такого не
Значит, мои 100 грамм после бани зашли за победу. Ну да, Руслан.
Не, было в первом сезоне пару раз рейджили мы друг на друга, но это в первом сезоне у нас там и состав другой был, блядь, и ситуация другая была. Так что,
Ну да.
с тех пор мы учили свой опыт в этом плане. Если ты рейджишь, ты дизморалишь сам себя, ты не получаешь результата в итоге.
Ребят, я не
Самое-
снимал
самое
турик
нормальное-
вообще.
Самое нормальное состояние для, блядь, турика, это типа такое легкое волнение. Вот это самое охуенное, потому что оно тебя одновременно бодрит, но ты при этом как бы сосредоточен, и оно недостаточно сильное для того, чтобы тебя как-то сбивать. Вот это охуенное типа состояние. Блять, а все остальное, типа там, если дизмораль и так далее. Мы могли дизморальнуться после второй катки, потому что второй катки у нас тоже не пошло, насколько я помню.
Видос будет, ребят, обязательно. Видос будет в ближайшие дни.
Спасибо, Йорха, спасибо, Ковбой. Спасибо, парни. Это такой пиздец. Ну, мы, короче, пока смотрим просто, ну, типа, тут, блин, долго, конечно, все эти раунды идут и так далее. Проматывать будем, конечно. Пока просто смотрим, как это все было. Потому что мне вот до сих пор, на самом деле, интересно, как действовали другие команды просто в этом режиме. Потому что есть вероятность того, что в этом режиме в дальнейшем будут происходить все турики, потому что, объективно говоря, для компетитив он подходит, типа, именно в плане зрелищности очень сильно.
Ну, Форс, он типа освещал события, поэтому ребята его часто
Я вернулась.
показывали.
Да,
Хорошо.
мы уже смотрим на 29-й минуте. сейчас.
Остановите, пожалуйста. Остановите, давайте я к вам.
Хорошо,
Пристроюсь.
остановился.
Короче.
29-13.
Два, что?
29-13 у меня.
Понял.
13 и докачусь.
Мгм.
101 человек на стриме, серьезно? У меня показывает 56. Thank you. Бля, короче, спасибо за фоллоу всем на канал. Thank you, guys. Спасибо.
29-13, да?
Да,
Красавцы,
29-13.
Просто молодцы.
Мне 21. Скажите, как 21 будет, я
Поехали.
нажму.
Раз. 21, 29,
Спасибо, ребят, всем.
Давай
Спасибо
21,
огромное.
21 давай помотаем.
Сейчас мотаю.
Что, было интересно?
Thank you very much.
Все. Давай, раз.
Блин, какие же
два,
молодцы, ребята,
3, поехали.
елки-палки. Охренеть.
Нормально.
Вырвали последние
Ну, пока
первые
тут
20
10
ага.
человек на
минут,
стриме.
Пока
Спасибо,
смотри,
спасибо.
Просто
смотри,
отыграли.
как они здесь неплохо какую точку заняли.
Вообще просто.
Очень
Так
прям
мало? Не знаю. Скажи,
Это
чтобы все
пиздец.
плюс в чат поставили, чтобы ачивку получить за одновременных челов в чате. А, ребятки, если вам не сложно, кто рад нашей победе, плюс в чат, кто нет, минус ставьте. Спасибо огромное. Оу.
Пользуйся ситуацией.
Оу. Ебать, там
минус
просто
все.
взрыв в чате. Thank you, guys, thank you. Спасибо.
Бля, смотрите, Манир. Помнишь, мы вчера на стримах тут были?
Да, да, да.
А,
Мне
Вот
кажется,
прямо.
да, он прям в этом углу сидит. Да, та же самая зона. Ну, мы там,
Когда я вылетел опять же.
да, из-за мискоммуникейшена мы, блядь, там начали, я начал стрелять.
это
Но
разве
было
со
бы
мной
лучше,
был?
если бы авантюрист выиграл. Каждый был в силах выиграть, ребят.
Не разменялись?
Да.
Форсун, ты так понял, смотри, что он сделал.
Да, да.
Да,
Я больше всего, знаете, угорал с того, что Форсон, сука, никогда в игру особо не играл. И, по сути, ну, многих даже нокал. 120
Блядь, ну,
человек на...
да.
Ебать,
типа, блядь,
чуваки,
здесь
у
же-
меня на стриме 120 человек.
Тут же, понимаешь, в чем прикол? Тут же, блядь, стрельба-то несложная. То есть, ну, плюс волнение у всех, ну, он такой, типа, на расслабоне, скорее всего,
Да,
играет.
ему вообще поебать.
Ну, типа, блин.
Честно, я
Блин,
отыграл хуже всех, ребят. Турнир, если вот, ну, брать командную игру, я факапил больше
Забей.
всех.
Забей.
все вместе сыграли, все вместе.
Я
Мы
я
играли
только в
командой,
последней катке
мы
начал адекватно,
дамажили.
блядь, играть.
Понимаешь, в чем проблема? Ты неправильно оцениваешь. Мы же играли командно, у нас где-то ты не дал пройти, где-то ты надамажил типа, мы его добрали. Ты, блядь, вообще оцениваешь очень хуёво это все. Ох, нихуя их тут разъебали. Вообще просто моментально. Еще кого-то убили.
Да, да.
Как они подпустили их?
Так выиграли кто? Рэмпейджи, мы и кто еще?
И Stellar 4.
Третье место.
Стелларфор, да? Ну, сосуд пускай.
Ой, ну чё ты такой, а?
Стелларфор.
Чё ты такой токсичный?
Ну ладно. Мы там просто друг друга в спину дышали, забей.
Ну
Знаете, это-
там
Точнее, не, мы не дышали.
хотите
Мы просто такие
разницу?
влетели, такие, все.
После...
Хотите разницу по очкам, скажу вам, парни, ну, в финале?
Да.
У нас 54, у следующей 52, а у третьей команды 49. Там пиздец близко, блядь, все это
Да, как и
вообще
в
забей.
прошлом турике, там 3 очка была разница между первым и вторым.
Это
Можно
очень
экран
жестко.
побольше. Давайте я фуллскрин поставлю, ребят. Пачка разницы. Вы просто не поверите, я сижу, короче, последняя катка остается. Там разница была какая, помните кто-нибудь, нет?
Ой, блядь, я хуй знает насчет разницы. У нас было... Сейчас я посмотрю, что
Мы были на 4-м месте.
Очков 7 перед нами были, походу. Не уверен.
Я сейчас скажу тебе сколько.
Первое место я имею в виду.
Сейчас я вам все скажу. Смотри, короче, перед этим у нас было 44 очка у Stellar 4, 42 у за них типов, 38 у Sandfiles, которые нас обогнали, блядь, сделав 23, по-моему,
Да,
очка
они
в
в
катке до
предпоследней
этого. Это
катке они
охуеть,
сделали
блядь.
23 очка. Sandfiles.
И потом мы на одно очко от них отстали, мы на 4-м месте были. Это пиздец, короче. Not me, привет. Ой, блядь.
Это, не знаю, меня просто... Я сейчас заплачу. Я сейчас осознаю, что мы выиграли, блин.
На самом деле мы выиграли его, при том, что мы ебланили, на самом деле, довольно много. То есть, ну, мы объективно собирались там, ну, почти каждый день. Хорошо, почти каждый день. на вот часа 2, там, на 1,5, блин, ну так, типа, чуть-чуть поиграть, чисто форму поддерживать и выходить. как бы.
Знаете,
Потому что в Эшенай, типа, когда ты в него очень много играешь, ты как бы... Ой, ебать, что это с ним?
Да,
Ты,
Вашинай, поиграй в Вашинай. После
Типа,
после
да,
Турика там
во-первых-
вообще 0 будет человек.
типа, во-первых, блядь, в него хуй зайдешь, ну, типа, вот на первой-второй неделе в нем дохуя народу сидел. Потом на третий начался резкий спад, и в него было хуй зайдешь в него. А плюс к этому, когда в него дохера народу играло, там тоже, знаете, там каждая катка 15 минут, типа, идет. Ты вот вроде зашел, чуть-чуть, ну, довольно много бегал, потом пострелял минуту, как бы, и катка закончилась. И вот такой режим, он, типа, такой, блин, очень быстрый, он, как бы, очень утомляет. Фу, блядь.
Понимаем, Руслан, понимаем. Это глупо, я понимаю, но я сейчас тоже как идиот улыбаюсь, сижу, будто сам выиграл. Приятно, да.
Блядь, это пиздец. Ну все, короче, где там эти, блядь, всякие Columbia Pictures и все остальные, блядь, пора спортивную драму снимать, ебать, ебаный в рот. Как мы отсосали в начале, а
Сходка
потом
в
выиграли,
Москве.
блядь.
Ребят, будут бабки, будет сходка, блядь, и это.
Да, пока бабок нет. блядь.
Бля, нас так поддерживают, так приятно.
Мгм.
Сука, 300 тысяч.
Блядь, там еще комиссия будет, так что не радуйся.
Похуй вообще. Нет, там 300 с хуем, а 300, скорее всего, точно будет. Ебать, это второй ПК для стрима, ребят. У вас будет пиздатое качество на стримах. Возрадуюсь, чат, блядь.
Ой, бля.
Спасибо всем, кто фоловится, ребят. Когда против Шрауда. Шрауд играет завтра, мы будем смотреть с вами турнир Америки в онлайне.
Сори, я сейчас посмотрю, кто это был. Окей.
Вич не дает качество. Я просто второй комп поставлю на процесс со стримом. И...
Будет заебись, да. Я тоже себе хочу второй тогда взять. Но, типа, я больше хочу оплатить себе учебу, блядь, наконец-то. Типа, на подготовительной и еще парочку дел сделать.
А у вас есть банковские счета вообще?
Конечно.
Нет.
У тебя, если есть карта, хотя бы, ну, типа, обычная, там, у тебя уже есть банковский счет, так что... Ух, нихуя себе.
У меня тоже нет, какой дать, типа.
Голубь, спасибо. Спасибо огромное. А что ты им отправлял тогда? Я имею в виду не ты, а Дельта.
Я ничего не отправлял.
В смысле, блядь, они тебя просили выписку с банковского счета, ты забыл?
Отправлял, но это...
Там,
Чисто, чтобы
блядь,
подтвердить личность.
информация по твоему счету должна быть в этой выписке.
Я в этом банке
блядь,
счет закрыл, и который отправлял.
Рофлишь, блядь. Я думаю, они свяжутся. Блядь, это, конечно, блядь, охуенно ты сделал.
Завтра сабдей? Да вообще без проблем. Завтра сделаем сначала сабдей, а потом будем смотреть финал турнира на Америке. Видюха недолго, думаю, 2080. У меня 2080.
Спасибо, Голубь, огромное спасибо большое. Блять, конечно, мы тут охуевали.
Охереть, ребят. Охереть.
Блять, это еще первая катка идет. Охуеть, что они так долго, блять, играют, я понять не могу.
Ну, они там гоняли друг от друга по зоне.
Они там, типа, очень долго что-то как-то между
Камеру.
собой.
Камеру хотел бы.
Слушай, они что-то очень прям долго.
Боже, наконец-то все закончилось. Как мне этот режим бесит на самом деле.
Да, согласен. Ну, типа,
Это
он,
какая-то
блядь,
война.
он, понимаешь, он, вот, когда 60 человек,
Занавески купи, блядь.
из-за бугра могут НДС снять, ну, понятное дело. Понятное дело, там налоги будут какие-то, комиссии, все остальное, это ясно.
Почему Патрик остался? Почему Патрик остался? Что он делает?
Он люркует, ты чё? Они ж там убили половину из них.
Они знают о
Он-
нем.
Ну, они знали о нем, но, типа, они спустились, и этих разъебали, как бы, со стороны.
Уф, спасибо, ребят, всем, кто фолловит.
Рамини,
Я вернусь.
один, и они здесь по-любому победили. 100%. Здорово, Линкерс, привет. Рад тебя видеть.
Как раз за вас, что ж соседи пришли ругаться. Я так орал, так радовался. Спасибо, я знаете сам как орал, я не знаю, ко мне приходили соседи или нет, мне вообще похуй, я сидел, даже не выходил из комнаты.
Конечно, блядь, пиздец. Когда же меня отпустит, блядь? А, вот он уходит за зону, типа, чтобы не отдаться им просто. Потому что у него 40 там этих, 40 воздуха. Просто убегает от них и все.
Бля, ребят, можно подождать еще раз? Какое время?
У меня только что закончилась первая катка, мы сейчас все равно на вторую листать будем, так что не
хорошо,
переживай.
давай.
У них студия, кстати, пиздатая очень. У типов, у этих.
Да,
очень.
топовая.
Тут какая-то мадам сидит.
Скажешь, что
Канал
Ошенко.
ретранслируется на канале. Спасибо, Игорян, огромное. Спасибо. Очень приятно.
Здорово, Скайнет. Привет, привет, Скайнет. Короче, это 39 минут ровно. 39 минут ровно, ребят. Каточка следующая. И вот нас тут
Что так
показывают.
быстро? Ты наркоман, что ли? Это повтор, наверное, здесь.
В смысле? Нет. 39 минут ровно, дядя, я тебе серьезно говорю. Я 10 минут почти пролистал. Ты что, рофлишь? У меня на
39
таймере...
минут ровно.
А, не, блин, у меня на таймере 50, наверное,
где
минут
оповещение
ровно.
о госте?
Сейчас.
А, так
Да,
это обман.
49-48. Так не, у меня просто внизу таймер показывал одно, блядь, нажал половину, пока... Короче, 49-50, кстати.
Спокойной ночи тебе, Окси. Спасибо,
Или
что был.
даже 50 минут можно ставить, я думаю, ровно.
Игорян, спасибо за хост. Я не знаю, почему меня...
Ой, мы в такой жопе были.
Да, 50
10 место у нас 2 очка, блядь. Столлар for 12.
Да, а у них 12, как бы. Ну, 50,
Погодите, вы где смотрите?
49-48 здесь.
48?
50
49, 48. 50 я уже понял.
Да,
Всё, короче.
50 минуту ставьте.
50
Спасибо,
минут.
Владимир, огромное, ребят. Всем спасибо огромное. Блин, это такая жесть.
Спасибо за поздравления, гайс.
Мы, короче, и за поддержку в чатике спасибо, кто писал. Но мы, блядь...
50 минута.
Да, 50 минута.
За нас топили, за нас чат топил, серьезно, там
Раз.
жесткий чат был очень
Раз.
сильный.
О, нас
Раз,
показывают.
2, 3. Поехали.
У меня 50-59.
Блять.
Чего?
Я тебя понял. Тормози, жди нас минуту, хули.
Ладно, жду. Скажите, как подойдете.
50-42 я поставил, у меня 50-42. Ставлю.
Сейчас 49, да?
У меня 59.
Спасибо, Андрю, доброй ночи, тебе, спасибо.
50-59 ставлю.
Да, тут нас показывают. Сейчас я это долистаю, тут мне 10 секунд.
У меня 51-04.
Ты что, шутишь?
Ты рофлишь, блядь, дядь? Ты можешь, блядь, подождать, нет?
Да, могу.
4, 0-4, все.
Сейчас. Все, давайте. Раз, два, три, поехали. Форсен, кстати, между первой и второй каткой взял, сменил ник, блядь.
Да, кстати,
Да-да.
вы представляете, мы с ним ждем, не понимаем, чего же ждем. Там Форсен меняет никнейм, блин. Он с каким-то левым играл, а потом заходит в катку игрок Форсен, я такой сижу. Боже. Раптор на 7-м месте, пипец. Так он играл с рандомными ребятами, то есть у него не было команды.
Блять, 7-е место для типа, который зашел первый раз в игру, это охуенно на самом деле, как бы держу в курсе. Ну, я про Форсена, я не знаю, кто у них второй был. Ой. Ну, я не знаю, кто это такой, типа, я первый раз вижу. Ну, типа, может быть, он не это.
Да нет, Раптор, скорее всего.
Мне кажется, Раптору
Спасибо,
заплатили.
Да, мне
Спасибо,
кажется,
Сай, огромное за донатик. Спасибо большое. Да, я думаю, ему заплатили, типа.
он получил свое за этот турнир в любом случае.
Или хотя бы пиар от Форсена, это... Пиар от Форсена, это огромных денег стоит, по сути.
Блять. Спасибо, ребят, огромное за поддержку. Спасибо всем, кто пришел. Это прям пиздец, парни. И не парни. Спасибо огромное. Мы в ахуе, блядь.
Вот, а внизу города элит с авантюристом.
Да, и мы на гору.
Да, но мы тут реально зафакапили. Здесь были довольно такие тупые мувы от нас.
Это вторая катка же, да?
Это вторая катка идет, да.
Просто Тюрик 5 команд, 6 команд. Сколько их-то?
Вторая катка, мы
Раз,
еще
два, три, четыре,
факапим.
5, 6. 6 команд. Как страшно.
По-моему, ну да.
А мы еще бегали, я что-то говорил про 2, про 3 команды, ребят.
Там мы думали, что здесь 2 команды всего.
Ну да.
Это просто не выигрывается. Ты не знаю, какими надо быть гениями, чтобы это выиграть.
Ну, эту зону, типа, не...
Этот город просто взять, вот как в паблике размочить.
Слушайте, знаешь, что Игорян пишет? У нас на там Б было 4 команды, мы охуели.
Забей.
Там Б, ребята, 4 команды, камон, что там делать?
Охуеть, блядь.
Жесть.
Ну это как раз момент. Все думали, что там бей маленький спот, туда никто не будет прыгать.
Ага, там хуяк,
Так
блядь.
думало много кто.
Еще раз победы, завтра поговорим. Всем удачи, спокойной ночи. Спасибо, Ру, что зашел, поздравил. Доброй ночи тебе.
Спокойной ночи.
Завтра сабдей.
Давай, спокойной ночи.
Вот концентрация команд, 3 команды просто в одной точке собрались.
Угу. Это пиздец.
2 часа ночи. 87 человек на стриме.
Блять. А, у тебя 2 часа ночи, у нас 12.
У меня все еще, блядь, день турика. Еще 15 минут до следующего дня.
То же самое.
Что, завтра будем сидеть со стримом чекать канал Америки?
Да, конечно будем.
Сравним уровень игры.
Ну, типа, блять,
100 человек, да ладно.
я не... Мы не ЧСВ, как бы, но честно скажу, да, что на Америке уровень намного слабее. Там есть 4 или 5 команд, которые играют очень сильно. Как, ну, как на ЕУ команды играют, да. А есть, так сказать, все остальные, как бы, ну, типа,
Там,
там...
типа, понятно, либо ноблы, либо импакты играют.
Там
Сразу.
очень... Ну, там еще Шраут есть, конечно, который тоже...
Не, Шраут со Скадудлом и кто еще? У него Джастин,
Там
они могут.
Там очень много, типа, ну я хуй знает, короче, но там очень какие-то типы странные. Хотя, знаешь, типа, там тоже ноблы, они же не могут поделиться тоже нормально. Они, наверное, тоже какие-то команды там будут это миксовать, так сказать, между собой. То есть у них там тоже, наверное, будет большее количество команд, просто из-за того, что по 3 человека из склады. Спасибо, Руслан. Давай, удачи. Спокойной ночи.
Жесть, ребята, это просто...
Бля, посмотри на карту, бля.
Вы посмотрите на карту, реально. Там, наверное,
Просто
совсем
черная
херово,
дыра
да,
засасывает все внутрь.
Охуеть, бля.
Гайз, давайте я вот так сделаю.
Охуеть.
Это неадекватно, вот, по сути. 20 команд вот на этом это неадекватно.
Нет, это адекватно для побосса. Это неадекватно для скримов. Это вообще неадекватно для скримов, для компетитив, но для побосса это адекватно.
Понимаешь?
Хотя
Когда
я тебе честно скажу, играть с 20 командами намного интереснее, чем с 15.
Ну, это интереснее, ну, понимаешь, блядь.
То есть именно больше файтов, именно больше мяса. А так, блядь, когда ты с 15 играешь, ты такой, я не успел оглянуться, а уже 19 человек. Блядь.
Понимаешь, есть пубг. 100 игроков в
I know,
паблике.
thank you, man.
Компетитив 60 игроков. У нас наоборот. В паблике 45, в компетитиве
Да.
60.
Представляете,
Да,
это...
это при этом...
Кого?
Это был лютый пот. Ты не знаешь... У тебя нет информации в принципе, да? Люди могут крутить как угодно, справа, слева, то есть ты не можешь...
Стену убил, блядь.
Не знаю. Ты не можешь постоянно понимать, что происходит и где народ. И это очень сложно. То есть там очень много рандома, ребят, было.
Ну,
Спасибо, Ромка, спасибо огромное.
Это типа пиздец.
Failed. GG. Nice game. Thank you, man, thank you.
Спасибо, Владимир. Thank you, Владимир. Thank you. Это пиздец, конечно.
Диктатор из Вегаса, у них пинг пипец лагает. Ну да, кстати.
А, ну да, точнее. Они же, блин, из этого, из Америки.
Не, ну типа, если, наверное, на лане, да, смотреть, наверное, там все
Вот,
адекватно
и просто...
сделано.
А, вот и полетел, видимо, серф, да, вот этот глайдер, который ты видел. Блять, ну мы думали, там 2 команды, блять, это пиздец.
Вы смотрите, там просто такая плотность. Вы гляньте на эту плотность людей. Их очень много.
Плотность полета пули, блядь.
Плотность полета пули превышает все ожидания, ребят.
Да, ты думаешь, 2 команды, а там 8 команд. Думаешь, там 1 команда, а там 4.
И
Если
прикол
нихуя
здесь
там студия
самый...
Вегас. Второе, нихера себе. Ну да.
И там прикол весь основной, ну, типа, здесь весь прикол в том, что если в обычном, да, компетитив ты можешь, у тебя есть хоть какое-то время, там, хотя бы минута на файт, блядь, то здесь нету нихуя. То есть здесь, блядь, сразу же еще откуда-то вылезает еще кто-нибудь, типа, это забейте. Все, меня, походу, отпустило, как бы.
Я еще в
Более-менее.
шоке, блядь. Я еще не звонил родителям никому. Введи в курс дела, пожалуйста, выполню много из жизни. Второго. Мы выиграли Amazon Cup. Ввожу в курс дела.
Блять.
Мы собрались только в третьей катке. Мы начали играть только в третьей катке. Пошла типа та это.
Вот ключи бот задолбал здороваться, так ты с ним 2 раза поздоровался, дядь. Он с тобой 2 раза поздоровался, он же вежливый, дядь.
Это там самый стойкий из вас,
О,
девчонок.
нихера.
Да мы просто на вебках на стриме. Ой, там Игоряна жмут.
Да, в смысле самый стойкий? Вы бы знали, как он орал, когда он зашел, а мы ему сказали, что мы вытащили катку, блядь.
Да.
Я чуть-чуть такую дверь не сломал, блядь. Я потом в стену ебанул, блядь, при родителях.
Блядь, спасибо, Разбер.
Родители чуть не охуели, блядь, от жизни. Думали, я с ума сошел, сейчас убивать их буду. Ебать лагает. Что происходит?
Ебать он...
Там на спектакле еще хуже все выглядело.
Ебать. Не,
У нас все в игре спокойно все было.
Блядь, что он делает? А, я понял.
А, это вторая же катка, мы тут откиснем точно. Вот
Да,
третья.
мы уже откисли.
Да, мы в третьей только начали играть нормально.
Блять, во второй катке у нас, по-моему, 5
Блядь,
очков
ты
было
поздравляю.
суммарно.
Спасибо огромное.
У нас после второй катки было суммарно, ебать.
3 не
ёбаных-
хочешь?
Там спрашивают, что
В
родители
смысле,
сказали.
разве 3 суммарно?
Сказали, красавец.
Красавец, да?
Что они мне скажут? Конечно. Сказали, умничка, блядь, лучший. Вроде там 3 было, я не уверен, честно. Сейчас посмотрю.
Звоню, скажу, мам, я твою годовую зарплату заработал.
Сука, блядь.
Второй раунд.
Ты понимаешь, насколько это будет хуёво, дядь?
Или не
Второй
говорите,
раунд,
что-
3. Второй раунд. После второго раунда у нас 3 очка было. Мы были на 15 месте из 20. Ну так, на минуточку. 15 место.
Пуф.
И еще 3 команд было 15 место.
5000 баксов, пацаны. На лицо.
Теперь их получить надо.
Да, блядь. Тебе, кстати, там не пишут никто, блядь, никакие почты.
Да рано еще, наверное, нужно, чтобы закончился американский, и потом будет
Ну,
распределение.
скорее всего, да, но мало ли. Там тебе еще сейчас напишут, блядь. Если ты, блядь, не напишешь нам в течение 15 минут, нахуй, ты идешь нахуй, блядь, так
Сейчас
рафлану,
мне
блядь.
нужно идти в банк и заводить банковский счет в долларах.
Да.
Что я не буду, наверное, доллары слать. Ну или они скажут, как они будут слать, я не знаю, как они еще могут слать.
Могут
Так,
переводами
можно еще
денежными,
немножко
но
ничего
это
уже
забей.
О, показывают меня, как я там посрался.
Да, блядь, ну это был...
Смолдер на меня наехал. Что ты пристал ко мне?
Это был фейл, дядь, типа.
Ну смотри, сколько оксигена, понимаешь? У меня паника началась.
Ну, я понимаю, что у тебя паника. Просто смотрите, в чем прикол. Там, короче, они шли вместе.
А там просто тупо умрет чекать.
Они, короче, шли вместе, типа, но вместе, типа, хуёво. То есть один, блин, второго не видел, и Дельта, короче, убивает вот этот Dino One, и Дельта его очень сильно просадил.
Кстати, на спектейте в разы лучше видно, чем в игре самой.
Да. Ну, это из-за того, что тени здесь меньше. Короче, и рофл в том...
Форсон, ебай, вообще на велике влетает.
Видел
Там.
такую?
Третья каска, блядь.
Держу в курсе.
Чувак не играет.
Держу в курсе. Они не показали, как ты умер, так что можешь быть спокоен. Там, короче... и Dino One потом сдох от зоны. Короче, там рофл в том, что у него не было кислорода, ему надо было убивать этого типа, чтобы забрать его кислород, если он у него есть. Но оказывается, он бы так сдох, даже если бы убил.
Потому что у него не было кислорода, да.
Ну,
Да,
по сути,
у него
был
тоже не
файт
было.
за одну очко, на самом деле.
Congrats,
В
my bro.
смысле?
Thank you, Абрамовский, thank you.
Название? В смысле? Я ж поменял, блядь. Ща, пацаны, секунду.
Симонс, поздравления. Спасибо, Симонс, огромное. Приятно.
Ща, секунду, поменяюсь.
Бля, там сейчас Помин будет творить дела. Он не будет творить дела, он будет сидеть, понял.
Ой, блядь.
Не, ну сколько плохого про Раптора не говорил бы, он, конечно, красавчик. Он тащил Солянова эту команду, по сути.
Это да. Раптор соло бустил.
Бля, ебаная хуета, нахуй. Почему я не могу зайти за свой аккаунт?
But I think he's going to wait to have a little bit better chance at getting a pinch and maybe clean up rather than trying to be the initial person to engage.
Right, an interesting situation with this end
Как,
game
ребят,
where
родителям
that
сказать про то, что
all
выиграл?
four teams that are still
Предлагайте
Лучше не
варианты.
говори,
сейчас.
блядь.
Бабки
Эти
отберут.
Лучше не говори, блядь, серьезно, блядь. Не то, что бабки отберут, нахуй, а по другой причине.
team number 5, Team Rampage, with
Тебе сразу начнут читать лекции по поводу того, что это разовый заработок. Я тебе серьезно говорю. Это, блядь, инфосотка.
Понимаю.
Блять, я уже сколько месяцев подряд, примерно 1,5 месяца я приношу деньги, блядь.